other day I was, like to say, surfing the internet, you know, and I ran across this article. The science fiction writer, Philip K. Dick, back in '72, wrote letters to the FBI asking for their protection. He said that this fellow who he felt was part of a neo-Nazi group, and he knew was definitely part of a New World Order group, had asked him to put some coded messages in his science fiction novels. In case you don't know, Philip K. Dick wrote the novel that became the movie Blade Runner, and also one of his other novels became the movie Total Recall. And he was an award-winning novel for, you know, at least 20 years, you know. And it's funny because Bobby in his lectures has mentioned that if you want to find out what people are really thinking, what the ruling structure is really thinking, go to science fiction novels. He said they got a new genre book called science fiction horror. They put a lot of stuff in there, and he said that a lot of knowledge is in the movies. And, you know, I played it for some of my friends who think Bobby's just way out, you know. They agree with him up to a certain point. If Bobby make that conclusion, they just snatch them all out. You know, they can't handle it. And this was one of them. That coded messages are in science fiction now. And when I saw this article, I just said, damn, you know, because I read a lot of Philip K. Dick's books, you know, and just, you know, it was good, but I mean, like to see that he knew what they was doing, and I mean, he left the States and moved to Canada. You know, because the FBI said they couldn't protect him. You know, he said, forget it, you know. He just booked. So, you know, if anybody would like to see this, you know, I have this here with me because I just want you to know, listen to Bobby, you know.
The science that they dropping ain't fiction.
That's right. So, without any words from me, we're in for a treat from the young master.
All right. Okay. Since this is H2O, we don't necessarily need the water. What we're going to do is just go straight to the libation. And basically, because H2O, we already came with the water this time. So we want to say that and all, you know. And also, we're in Detroit, Michigan, because the tape gets out more than just in this area. So, you know, I guess I got to start saying where I am. You know, I just got back from, well, I haven't really lectured all this particular, all of January, because I wanted to sit back and see what was actually happening. So I just started back last week, and I went to Harlem for 2 nights and all. We also have a Millennium Gathering of the Masters down in Atlanta, and it's got this couple of people, sister named Audrey Scott Williams, Leola Africa, the Conscious Rasta, Delbert Blair, Henry D. Bernardo. He's a brother started up back in '97 from Philadelphia. Robert Morning Sky, he has some things on the internet and all. Me, Bobby Hemmitt, Phil Valentine from New York City, and we're gonna top it off with Khalid Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? So because the whole thing was, what does Khalid have to do with metaphysics? But at this particular time, black people so dead, we need somebody to light a fire under their ass. So I'm loud, and you know, Khalid Muhammad, you know, he comes up and all, and he's grotesque like me, so we need that kind of energy and stuff, because black people so dead and all. So basically, I'm going to come on, because basically I was supposed to do the last night, so I'm doing Friday night, and I probably got the most amount of hours. And then I'm going to come back on Saturday, and I'm going to do something like an hour, hour and a half, you know, with my loud self. So therefore, Khalid come on, it won't seem like it's very out of place. And so as a result, you know, we decided not to necessarily put Khalid first or anything and all, because, you know, the tempo to overshadow some of these other people. So basically, to put him next to me and all, you know, and on the last night, so therefore we'll go from the metaphysic weekend all the way till we do the revolution thing at the end also too, because both sides are relevant when you think about it, even though this is an illusion and all. But on the other hand, based on energy and based on the peace of mind and all, you know what I'm saying, you need somebody to light some fire under people's ass sometimes just to get the juices to flow in and stuff. So so it's going to be a real good lecture. It's going to be on the, it's like a conference. The first metaphysical conference is called the Gathering of the Masters on March 23rd, 24th, and 25th. If you're interested in all, There's a Sirius Books down in Atlanta on 2258 Cascade Road, Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're interested, you can get in touch with them also. But I have a few. I also have a few flyers here to pass out too, because there's a lot of people from New York and a lot of people from around the country is coming to that. And also, just trying to just get something going in the millennium, other than because we had the Afrocentric thing and all. So basically, we're still trying to keep it pumped up and all, so the consciousness won't die. Because you know how it is, we can get into a conscious mood, and then it'll die down, and be 20 years later we have some people and stuff, and the whole crew in between have forgotten all the stuff. So basically, we keep this thing rolling and stuff. You know what I mean? Until either the next couple of months we got on the planet Earth, or the next couple of years. It doesn't really matter. It can very well go tomorrow. But still, yet this fight should go on forever, especially when it comes to black people, because we are truly at our lowest point when it comes to on all levels. Just dead. And basically now the European has now set up he's established one rule now, that his reign is supreme with the Union of America Online, Ted Turner and Warner Brothers merging together. Then they came back and did something right after that. Didn't they? They bought something else after they merged. So basically the whole world, with the whole Bill Gates thing, the entire earth is looking at the white man as the technological vehicle that they can latch on to and feel secure in the future. Even AT&T saying, you will be there with AT&T, and they say pretty soon, Sprint say pretty soon it's going to be all right for everybody. And the best he can offer is some cold computers and staring in some module some damn where. But as far as all the stuff he has learned on spirituality the last 200 years, he just totally blew it by not taking the earth that path. But then again, that's not his goal. But the entire earth now, the white man is king. You see what I'm saying? Including they got the internet commercial. They show all the little people around the world talking about the internet. But it's interesting when they go to Africa, they got two little black boys with no shirt on. Now all the other people that's psychological, because the warfare based on your mind is still going on. Now they go all over the world, everybody dressed up and stuff. The Asians, the Tibetans, or whoever they got, some Dutch people or whatever. They go to Africa, two boys standing out there with no goddamn shirt on. Like you don't have shirts in Africa. You see, but this is always a part of the psychological warfare. You see, this always going on. I'll show you some other ones that's on the agenda. So right now, let's give the entities some libation. Aim. I say Aim Sada Uda. I say Sophia. I say Diana. I say Sanesi. I say Sanubit. I say Heru Raha. I say Diana. I say Oshun. I say Lilith. I say Amin-Ra. I say Sekhmet. I say Heru. I say Awas. I say Samuel. I say Melchizedek. I say Ptah. I say Apollo. I say Seba. I say Anunnaki. I say Kether. I say Daf. I say Ain. I say Ain Tada Uda. I say Shekinah. I say Yased. Frigda. Laka. Brahmin. I say Bravini. I say Ogun, I say Mars, I say Balda, I say Omitutu, I say Mojobo Ikitun, I say Mojobo Irisha, I say Malkuth, I say Tayamat, I say Tahuti, I say Tyre, I say Legba, I say Sekmaya, I say Osea, I say Lucifer, I say Sut, I say Anu, I say Nilanhotep, I say Olakun, I say Obatala, I say Tekim, I say Shakma, I say Had, I say Tifereth, I say Helios, I say Shango, I say Vishnu, I say Marasha, I say Aether, I say Rhea, I say Alafi, I say Anitutu, I say Kosika, I say Kosiopo, I say Mercury, I say Raherukahuti, I say Mut, I say Bes, I say Ani, I say Mayat, I say Sekmayat, I say Aset, I say Prometheus, I say Sutek, I say Anpu, I say Eros, I say Heru, I say Oya, I say Apep, I say Brahma, I say Bravini, I say Rudra, I say Naksha, I say Anpu, I say Anubis, I say Abatala, I say Magnameta, I say Makali, I say Bridget, I say Silk, I say Obufarelli, I say Mojobo Alafi, I say Tutu Elegba, I say Kosi Ka, I say Nikamasi, I say Akabawaya, I say few more now, bear with me. Kosi Indra, I say Kot, I say Melanin, I say Alphos, I say Asamaros, I say Bass, I say Bererit, I say Samaris, I say Kai, I say Dambala, I say Gargo, I say Laki, I say Malektas, I say Pam, I say Supe, I say Tammuz, I say Ilitutu, I say Sahu, I say Adon, I say Aram, Armin, I say Azazel, I say Beelzebub, I say Bali, I say White Buffalo, I say Dagon, I say Demogogon, I say Hectares, I say Memnon, I say Nalando, I say Ishtar, I say Siva, I say Hera, I say Pakawa, I say Sutan, I say Shaitan, I say Ba, I say Ka, I say Andala, I say Eleron, I say Balbas, I say Behemoth, I say Shakma, I say Thunderdog, I say Dogon, I say Iminya, I say Kali, I say Amma, I say Neama, I say Ba, I say Baalsepin, I say Na, I say Naliyan, I say Rarim, I say Nahi, I say Lamayin, Ashe. To all gods known and unknown, Ashe. To all ancestors, the Hemmitt family, Shaw family, Davis family, Ashe. 1, 2, 3, start calling out your ancestors. 1, 2, 3. Ashe. 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 The ones that passed on, Ashe. 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 To all gods known and unknown, Ashe. To all ancestors known and unknown, Ashe. As we should say, all anti-gods known and unknown. We'll get into that also too. We need to break that down tonight also too. So remind me. Now also, brother Atiba's father passed on when was this? February 1st. February 1st, which is that's interesting. It's a good day to die. Made the transition, so therefore, and I heard he was a very spiritual, uplifting person as far as community-wise and all. So we're gonna dedicate this lecture. What's his complete name?
Leonard King Sr.
Leonard King Sr. So we're going to dedicate this lecture and tomorrow night's lecture to Leonard King Sr. To let him know that in actuality, congratulations, you made it out of hell, and we're still incarcerated and enrolled.
He got parole.
And we'll see you soon. Because in actuality, that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know, instead of you crying, they should be crying for you, and that's what the whole key is based on. You should not grieve, but so long, no less than a couple of days or a week or so, because that person can't go on. You see what I'm saying? Can't go on, which is interesting because I think I'll sit down for a change, you know, just to get to, you know. It's interesting because we moved in the house about a year ago. And as a result, I was kind of interested in how this whole thing went down. And I don't think I'll tell you about my house was haunted the last time I was here. Well, let me give you the other information on that. About the sister Josephine. Did I tell you about that? Well, anyway, let me just give the story anyway again. We moved in this house. Now, this house, when we moved in, the guy said he had screened 50 people to get in the house. And I was like, well, dog, I know your house. He said, you know, the last people tore up his house. And I'm saying, I know you cautious, but 50 people is kind of odd. You got all these people want to pay you money, and you trying to get, you know, you trying to rent. You know what I'm saying? 50 people is kind of odd. Right. But what happened was, is the day we went to go get the house, before we got out of the yard, he gave it to us almost, literally. You see? And basically, what it was is the house was haunted. Now, what happened was is this. So, a couple of months, I think in October sometime, we walked into the house and we noticed that the phone wires was cut in the house. And I was like, well, wait a minute, hold on. The government ain't going to break in your house and cut no wires. You saw an enemy of the state. They're going to do some bugging or whatever. But I'm protected from all of that, and I knew that wasn't the case. I knew nobody was going to break in, because I ain't protected from niggas now. They can still break in your house. So I said, ain't no black person going to go and break in your house, cut your phone wires, and don't take nothing. Shit, you liable to get some theft with some good friends coming over and shit, you know, or whatever, you know. I know some niggas go in your refrigerator in a minute, at least that. Right. But I knew that ain't nobody broke in the house and cut the wires and then steal nothing. So the only conclusion we came to is it had to be a ghost, which would be far-fetched to most people that don't understand the spiritual realm. But we had one eat my fig Newtons one time, so I knew that this thing could happen, you know. So we just figured it was a ghost, and so we start putting two and two together. So I was like, well, maybe it's somebody that wants to go on. And this woman came and said her name was Josephine. So apparently, see, two things could have happened. Now, Josephine probably could have died, and somebody was grieving, and she probably stayed around, you see what I'm saying, and wasn't able to go on because that person basically never
Let go.
let go. Or she could have died and not known she was dead and still didn't pass on, and by the time she figured out she was dead, she didn't know how to get to the other side. You see. Now, I got a aunt named Jane Esther. Well, she's actually my cousin, but because she's my mother's age, she's my mother's first cousin. You know, we call her aunt down south, so you know what I'm saying. So basically, she's in her early 60s now, but when we went up to New York, because what happened was that she lived right off the Brooklyn Bridge over in New York, right in Brooklyn, and on Cumberland Street, and it's not too far from, as soon as you get into Brooklyn, it's not that far, right up from Fort Greene Park. So she had this whole apartment, she was in this apartment, and she got sick. And they got this new thing, if you get sick and you don't have no next of kin up there, they can put you in the old folks home if you're 30. So my brother, because she basically left everything to my brother that's a year younger than me, and gave him power of attorney, he had to come down, and she was sick because she's on dialysis, and she was damn near dead, but he's a strict, compulsive vegetarian, almost a fanatic. So he took her back there, no sugar, no nothing for a while, and nursed her back to perfect health. And it's ironic, every time she started eating all them cookies and shit, she gets sick again. But anyway, she had this whole apartment up there in New York. And I'm getting back to my house, but I'm going to tell you this particular story. She had this whole apartment, and the apartment now, since she's been in it, the average, I mean, it is plush. Right in Brooklyn, so the average rent is about $1,100 on up. But there was 5 black people that got in like the early 70s, like 73, 72, 73. They was on rent control, so the most they was paying was like $300. Now that's great in New York. And I'm talking about for a plush crib. So basically, for a year, 2 years, we had a crib. Every time we go to fly to New York, I can fly to New York to go to the lecture, you see what I mean? I got our keys and stuff. We just check on in the place. So I'm up in there one day, and my girl, being a seer, said, somebody's in here. And I said, well, and it came to me. I said, ask if it's Gray Henry. She said, that's who it is. Now, apparently, my aunt, Jane Esther, had a younger brother. He was on dialysis at first. He was on dialysis, excuse me, because his kidney failed. So he died in 1975. Came down with something. They took a cyst off his head, and the doctors, you know how they experiment on you, and he died from something that wasn't even related to the kidney thing. So his sister, because they were so close, there was only 3 of them, and one was in Florida. There was 4 of them, and 2 brothers was in Florida, but she was like the second from the baby, and he was the baby. So they really had a bond. So when her brother died, she grieved so much, and to the point where either she was even cursing God, saying, why did you take my brother away from me? So she grieved so much and never got over the grieving. And probably years passed until she grew to get over it. But at that particular point when he first died, she grieved so much until he was still sticking to her. So even to the point when she moved down, because my brother had to take her down to Atlanta, he was still up in the apartment. You see what I'm saying? So when we got there, and in 97 and 98, we in the apartment. Now this is what, 1975, 1997. How can you do the math? How many years is that?
22.
22 years he's still in the apartment. Because she just left in the spring of 97, so he was staying with her. because he couldn't make the transition because she grieved too fucking long. See how this thing happened? So when we got up there, Gray Henry is still in the apartment. And I'm like, well, damn, why you didn't follow Jane down to Atlanta? He said, well, I can't really go there yet. I think he must have had to figure out a way to get down. You know the movie Ghost when he couldn't get through the front door? But anyway, I think he's down in Atlanta now because my brother, who can see, says I see him all the time. But it's interesting because the house that he is in, he saw a man sitting on the, he just bought a house, and he saw a man sitting on his couch, and come to find out this man was the owner of the house, and he had just died, and the woman didn't want to stay in the big house, his wife, so she sold and got a smaller place. So he was still chilling up in there when my brother moved in, and he had only died like a year before. You know, like a year before. But the key is, my brother was like, you know, cool, it don't bother him. You see what I'm saying? Because my grandmother died. This is real interesting stuff. And we're talking, this sounds spooky, but these are the things that we used to know in Africa and right after slavery that we forgot when we started getting educated. So my grandmother died in 1990, and she came and a day after the funeral, my mother heard her in the house because she used to always drag her feet. And my mama like, you got to get the hell on out of here. So she left and went up to Boston where my younger brother was staying at the time before he moved to Atlanta. And she'd come in and cut on the TV and stuff like that and all. And he said, oh, that's grandmother. And so he, you know, was chilling with her. But his wife wasn't too keen on the idea. I guess she kind of got sick of it. And wasn't that she was scared to come to find out she was a master. Her family was masters in the whole roots thing. And his wife, when he left the house about a month later, you know, was working someplace. When he left to go to work, basically, she ran and got some magic and got her on out of the house. And then she ended up coming back as my oldest brother's first daughter, or second daughter, because the first one got killed by the doctors and all. So I'm just trying to say is this might sound strange, but this is the type of spiritual realm that we used to deal on. Now going back to what happened with me, apparently she didn't know she was dead at this particular time. She probably figured she was dead, figured it out after a while, but she couldn't get out of the house. She didn't know how to go. So a brother came down from Philadelphia, and we did this ritual. Now when we pour these libations, these entities and your ancestors come. Remember I was saying after a couple of lectures, we had this party, and I got like 5,000 albums from the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, and we had this party, and real humble people, I mean down home project people, and you know, which really feels when you grassroots. You know, we getting so nigh and shit, we getting to the point where, you know, we all stick up our ass and stuff because we all educated. But you know, grassroots people, good old down home black people, they really feel. So I pumped that music for about 3 hours, and after a while the energy got to a level to Ginger looked in the house, and that was when we was in our apartment. She said, man, there's a whole bunch of people up in there. She said all those people's ancestors is down here chilling, jamming with them. As well as another sister, just giving you some others, you all following me? As well as another sister, when I first started a lecture, I did a lecture in Jackson, Tennessee, and this sister who could see real well, and we was downstairs doing the lecture, but a poured libation, and all the people in the lecture, their ancestors came with them, and they were upstairs in another room having a meeting together. She walked in the room and saw all these people. She said, damn, all y'all motherfuckers cousins and shit is upstairs. You see what I'm saying? And so when I poured the libation and we was doing this ritual for this brother, apparently all his ancestors came, all our ancestors came, and have these entities that we poured the libation. They're here now. So they all came. So Josephine walking around, she's seeing all these damn people. She's like, hey, got a party going on here. So after they left, after the ritual was over, she was like, well, hell, I need to go where they going. And these Negroes are the ones that can do it. You see. So we just got Josephine. I said, well, can you ask her, does she want us to get her out of the house or whatever? And Ginger could not get anything. So Ginger goes swimming in the mornings. And as soon as she hit the water, Josephine came and said, this is my birthday, and I want y'all to send me to the other side. I know you can do it and all this. I said, okay. So she came back from and she said, we got to send Josephine home tonight. I said, okay, cool, we'll do it tonight. So we had this ritual, and I had to coach her. I said, you know, this is the God, this is the black dog Tahuti, Anubis. I said that would be like John, one that comes before Christ in Christianity. So I had to cross-reference the deities. I told her to turn herself into a dove, and I said the dove is Horus, but on the other hand, that's the falcon, but it would be dove in Christianity, you know it's the Christ. And I told her to imagine I open up a doorway for her, because it's all based on your mind. Because what was coming to me was not coming to me because I was making this shit up. It was coming to me, and I was saying it based on, that's what was spiritually happening to me. And I'm thinking in my mind I'm making it up, but I wasn't making it up. And I said, now here's the doorway. Now, you know, we did this and took it to the doorway. And I said, when you get to the doorway and all, you turn into this burst of life. So we put an aura around her, and basically we sent her to the other side. Okay. About a week later, Ginger see another nigga up in the house. She said, there's another guy up in here. And he's mean too. I said, well, you know, ask him, does he want to go to the other side? I want us to take him to the other side. He was like, no, hell no. I want y'all to get y'all asses out. I said, oh, okay. You the one that cut the damn phone wires. I said, okay now. Oh, okay now, motherfucker. You talking shit. I said, okay then. Wait, we get back tonight. I'm gonna get your. I said, I'm gonna whip your ass tonight when we get back. So you gotta get niggas because it's the same thing. It's just that you in a physical body and they not. I said, no, you getting the hell up out of here tonight. I said, wait till I come back. So when we came back, I invoked the most powerful deities. You know, we invoked Sekhmet, you know. Anpu, Anubis in Greek, he's a god Carabus, a three-headed dog. You'll see him in the movie Jason and the Argonauts. I think he might be also in Clash of the Titan, this three-headed dog. And an Egyptian god named Hemmitt that eats the souls. And I invoked all these things. I said, now y'all toss this nigga ass up out of here. And I imagine him dragging his behind off. And right after he left, the house was real peaceful and serene. Now apparently when we walked, so apparently the guy was having the turn down 50 people to be in the house when he was screening the people, this guy was whispering in their ear telling them, no, he ain't right. So they have the ability to give you their thoughts and make you think that they're your own. But when we came, our energy was so high and so strong, me and my mate, until he could not permeate, you know, he could not permeate our energy, and our energy basically overrode his behind. Now, but it was interesting because we had this smell in the house, and it was right in the kitchen, and I mean it was stink, and we would wash bleach, I mean ammonia, anything abrasive. I mean we put it all on there, and it would go away for 3 days and would come back. And apparently, and the only way we can get it out of, we got it down was we got these burglar bars on the back door. And we just left the back door open all night, all during the summer when it got cold, got warm. And it kind of dried out, but we could still smell it a little bit. And when it started getting a little cold again, we said, wait a minute, it's coming back again. But it was interesting, once we got this person out of the house, Ginger said, you notice that smell is gone? And I said, you right. That was the actual ghost. But I remember in the spring of the year, one day I said, man, this is a ghost smell because it keep coming back. You know how you say things and it just pop out your head. But that's what it was. And we believe because that neighborhood one time, when the house was first built, that neighborhood was built for white people. So in actuality, it could have very well have been a white man. Because he sure enough stink like hell. And I don't know no black people stink like this. You see. And we were just getting the funk from him without a physical body. You can imagine how he smelled with a physical body. But there's a show that comes on called The Others. It's been coming on NBC, and they deal with all that stuff. You see what I'm saying? They deal with all that. And these are things I'm just saying, the concepts that will free us up is also, too, is to find working relationship and fall in love with death. That's one of the keys here. Because you're only facing what's inevitable. You understand what I'm saying? And that is the ultimate place to go anyway. You see what I'm saying? Everybody want to go to heaven, nobody want to die. So one of the keys here is not necessarily saying that you really have to kill yourself, because there's another way how this has to deal with, and we'll deal with that over the course of the next day or so. But we're saying fall in love with death, whereas it, it becomes a neat thing just to ponder that realm. You understand what I'm saying? Number one, when you start falling in love with something, and especially with death, number one, if you kick into the death realm, you pretty much got life licked on this realm. I mean, if you really fall in love with death to the point whereas you don't even mind dying, then pretty much life rolls easy for your ass on this realm. I mean, what can happen? I mean, especially if you hate it here. I mean, damn, if somebody cut off your lights, you'd be like, well, piece of cake, shit. I'm sorry I woke up this morning. But these are the concepts that we have to start dealing with, and for those people that think I'm going too far into this particular thing, it's no more than what the Bible been telling you. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about that concept of the other side, and you have to fall in love with death. That's why the book of the law says you should long death, and you should love death, and you should long death, and to know me is to know death. Because what we are basically talking about, if this is an illusion and a hologram, then death is the ultimate reality. You see what I'm saying? Now what we are actually doing here is we are actually signaling to the body. There's a way to do this, but we're actually signaling to the body a new reality. And we'll get deeper into that, but right now we got to go to some current events and some hard copies and some stuff that is on the agenda. Before we go deeper into some stuff right now. Let's just go into some stuff in the agenda. Now this is something that I did. Now this is coming from the University of Chicago. And basically we know that the Africans had a ritual for everything. So I took it upon myself to produce these rituals from the University of Chicago. That these rituals came out of the Library of Alexandria, wrestled out by the Greeks. So some of this stuff has not been used for 2,000 years. And this is the demonic spells found in Greece that was wrestled out of the Library of Alexandria in Hemmitt. So these rituals can help you. Now here's a ritual here. This is the ritual of the consecration for all purposes. So let's just say you're in a jam and you need some stuff right off. Here's one that if you can't find one in here that fits the need, here's one for all purpose. The next one, meeting the daemon, your own daemon is your own higher self. Okay. Then there's the stella that is useful for all things and can even deliver one from death. Start the heart back up. You see what I'm saying? If a nigga ain't gonna make it, you just do this ritual. You see. One is a request for dreams, because that's what we're going to be dealing with the next 2 days, especially tomorrow, is the dream realm. You see. Here's one on dreams. Another one is the spell for obtaining the dream revelations. Another one is the spell for divine revelations. One is a spell for direct charm and direct vision. Another one is a charm for direct vision. There's a memory spell. You see, a memory spell, a memory ritual. One for foreknowledge. There's a horoscope ritual. One, a charm to release from the bounds. This is the one I actually used to get that nigga ass up out the house. I said, let me go to this. I'm gonna use some of my stuff, but let me go and see what we wrote before on how to get a nigga up out of there. As well as a nigga that's messing with you that you don't want around you. Don't have to be no person. You can be a real person. You know how you have some old deranged nigga that won't leave you alone? Or somebody on the job. So, I got it, a restraining ritual. Every now and then you sisters need that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some brothers, because the sisters is fool as hell too. You see. Shit, I got a cousin that heated up an iron and stuck to her husband back when he was sleeping. So that shit about just go to sleep. You really got the upper hand on that nigga. She heated up an iron and stuck to his back. Then there's one, this is a medical one for the discharge of eyes, so if your eyes are draining. one for migraine headaches, let's see, one for hardening of the breast. So, you know, if your breast sagging, this shit'll harden your shit, perk it back up like you 19. One for swollen testicles, the blue balls, I guess. One for a fever, and for shivering fits, and one for a daily fever and night fever. A business spell. One is for if you're going into business, there's one you can use. Then for you sisters like this, because this is the love spells. There's love spells for attracting. There's about 4 or 5 different type of love spells, and one for attracting people and attracting the man you want with it. And see, I'm saying that this is very important because by our men running from us wholesale for the white woman, I'd much rather you lock his ass up under a spell for him to go off to the damn devil. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And if you ain't got no man, every woman needs, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want that, that's fine. But if you looking, you see what I'm saying? Use the fucking magic. You know what I'm saying? Use the fucking magic, you know. And so we got those spells, and also this particular book on Osiris, which is a rare book. Now let me explain something to you. Some of this stuff is impossible to do where you got to go and get all this stuff. So you don't have to do that. If you're going to get these spells, we're going to be selling these in the break. If you're going to get these, you don't have to go and get all this stuff. The only thing you need is a black candle, a white candle, and a red candle. And maybe a coconut. And just put it on an altar, light those candles, cut open that coconut up. And basically those spells will work for all those occasions. So when they tell you to go have to get this type of animal and all, the only thing you got to do is when you read it. So you're going to stand before the altar and you're going to read off the stuff that they tell you need to get, as well as what they tell you need to say. And the stuff that you need to get, because you're reading it off, you're actually speaking it into existence anyway, because all the energy is working from inside out. So you don't need all those things in this new quickening era. Only thing you need to do is speak it. So when it says you need some goat's hair, whatever, you just read that. You see what I'm saying? You just read that. So put some water also. Water, coconut, and also the fire. And that will be sufficient. You see what I'm saying? To cover all types of things. The only thing we're talking about is energy. So when you speak it, those things they say you have to have, the only thing you got to do is speak those things. And you automatically bring it about. You get it? So this is a book on Osiris that I beg people to get. This is a guy from England that put this stuff out. So whenever I rescue it, I put my little name on it and plagiarize it. But anyway, it's an excellent thing, and it's dealing with Aset and Osiris, because most of you get the Osiris stuff from Budge, and you don't get deeper into the whole aspect. But this particular book on Osiris is excellent, and because it's out of print, and it's been out of print for almost 11 years. I decided to produce that also too. Produce that also too. And we got a whole host of other things over here also. But this is one coming from England that came right before Christmas. And in this it's a passage in H.P. Lovecraft fiction, and they're explaining what he was trying to say, and I'm going to give you this particular information. This comes from England. Let me read this to you. It's talking about on the issue of the origin of the white race. And it's talking about the origin of the white race in here and all, and it talks about that is a critical, that in this case it is critical, and this is generalized statement concerning the possibility of human beings not necessarily be entirely human. Now this ain't talking about no alien, this is talking about the European not being human. Now this is all coming from white people, and it was interesting that they put this particular stuff out right before Christmas to own up to some stuff for the millennium. Might not be human. It is not logically deductible in a single case of miscegenation. What Lovecraft appears to be suggesting is that the inhabitants of a primal African city of white apes is not only the missing link between apes and human, but the ultimate source of all white civilization. It goes on to say the entire white race has derived from a primal, let me get my place, from a primal race in Africa, a race that had corrupted itself by intermingling with apes. Now I'll read the rest of it and I'll explain some of this. And one of the guy Sir Arthur German, which is the actual story that H.P. Lovecraft wrote called The Facts Concerning the Late Sir Arthur German and His Family is the name of the actual story. But it goes on to say Sir Arthur German says that if we knew who we were, we should do as Sir Arthur German says, commit suicide. This is what this is what the white man is suggesting based on this information that he heard. If we know who we were, if we knew who we were, we should commit suicide. Sure. We may not have white ape in our immediate ancestors, but we are all products of some ultimate miscegenation. Now going back to this, they're saying that there's this, now let me read this again. What Lovecraft appears to be suggesting, and I copied about 40 of them if you want to get them. What Lovecraft appears to be suggesting is that the inhabitants of a primal African city of white apes are not only the missing link, because they said the missing link in the Darwin thing is their history, between apes and human, but also the ultimate source of white civilization. The entire white race derived from a primordial race in Africa, which had corrupted itself by intermingling with apes. You see, but if we knew who we were, we should commit suicide. Now this is some powerful shit to put out, I think in October or something, right before the millennium. Now, let me give you the information. Let me break this down on what they're talking about. First of all, Michael Crichton read this particular facts concerning the late Arthur Jameson and his family, and he wrote the movie Congo. So go rent that movie again, because remember it's about some apes that was domesticated and turned on their masters. But you saw that Egyptian symbology on the wall, when that also has something to do with Elijah Muhammad in his theology of time, say that the Egyptians created the white man. But it was interesting that he said something about when they tried to graft themselves again, they turned back into apes. And even in Blavatsky's work, as well as the guy, a footnote in the guy's book, the A.E. Powell's book, The Astro Body. And there was a footnote in there where he was talking about the white race or something like that. And he said, well, you got to go look into Blavatsky's both secret doctrines. And in that footnote, when it came down to that particular footnote, she just had ape. Now, it's interesting because all this is coming together now, but I got to explain what's actually going on here. About this, when they say this primal African, the primal Africans who corrupted themselves by intermingling with apes and created this white race. In actuality, we didn't mate with apes, but this is proving that based on these people being advanced alchemical scientists, they basically splice ape DNA, human DNA, and other forms of animal DNA. So when these people from London, England, Penguin Classics, write this particular information and stuff, they're trying to own up to something that they already know based on they know every damn thing because they study this stuff year round. So this is an actual a part of this particular information. This particular information. And we have this, we have that that you want to get also too. Number two, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this because I wasn't able to copy the entire book. But what happened is this is the rule book or the actual what this is the rule book or the actual doctrine about like the. If you're in a lodge, this would be your manifesto, or it would be like the Duncan Ritual Complete, or it would be your bylaws, it would be the actual Bible. So this is the Bible to the Illuminati of the secret societies that run the world. That they give the whatchamacallit. Now this is not for sale or anything, it's just lucky how I always seem to come across shit. Because I work in the spirit realm. So what happened was, is I met these white boys that work out at this store, and they ultra conservative racists. So I told them I'm a conservative Republican. Fuck niggas. So they opened their arms out. I said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go undercover on their ass. So I come up in there incognito. I said, they do that shit to us, so I'm gonna do it to me. So I know they're racist. Instead of me just, no man, you black man, you wrong. I said, no, fuck niggas. Let me go up undercover so we can learn some shit. And I knew something was up because one day the owner of the store just started talking to me, and all the little people working the store was going around the corner. And I said, what the hell are they doing? And what it was, this man is such a racist until my spirit just basically knocked him out. And so when they saw him talking to me, they was amazed. How can this be? So I go in there and, basically I built a library of all science fiction and horror videos and different unique videos that you can study because that's where all your stuff is coming from. So I built a library, and I go in there sometimes just to hunt for rare videos and stuff like that. And so the guy was like, well, go on in the back room and stuff and see what's on the walls before we put it out to the people. So they done trusted a nigga around their shit, trustee style. Foreman style. So I bust up in there. So I'm up in the little room, and they got some boxes that came in, but they hadn't put this stuff out. It's a huge bookstore, so they don't even know what's in the boxes. It's somebody, somebody brought it in, and they had so much on the floor. They said, well, put them in the storage room. So by the time when I got back there was these boxes. I'm looking at the videotape, and I look over in the box. You see what I'm saying? And apparently what happened is this particular person who was a part of the Illuminati died. And his family members, not knowing what time it is, donated a whole bunch of his stuff to the store, and boom, I end up getting the actual book. So I look in the thing, and the spirit just, there's a bunch of books, and the spirit just said, bloop. I said, oh shit. Yeah. I started looking at this thing, I said, oh yeah. That shit right up in the damn drawer. And walk with it. Now, apparently what this thing is saying, that our ability to control people is the people have to be thrust in a complete fraudulent society. Everything has to be totally fake. And the ability, how do you control the people? You give a people their human rights. You give them the right to vote. And you give them the illusion that they're governing their own self. And once you give them this freedom of voting, the freedom of by the people, of the people, and for the people bullshit, you can immediately put them into slavery. You see what I'm saying? You give them a leader. You always make something wrong with the leader. So if you give them a president, you always get something on the president that you give to the public his flaws. And you make fun of the president, he got to come on the dress. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel that you are in charge because you know something about your so-called quote-unquote leader. Number one, if he's visible, he's not the leader. He's vulnerable. There's always somebody leading him, but we give you the visible, false decoy leader. And then you give him all, you had the big nose Nixon and, and all the stuff you make jokes, and he become the butt of the society. The peanut man, you know what I'm saying? And then, blackhead, 70-year-old Reagan. Yeah. And you always give him some stuff, racist. You always give them a characteristic that you can vent your frustration as well as something you have on them to make them human and make you feel big. And so therefore you'll think that you're in society. You think you're in control because you think you put him there. And he has flaws. And it's the other people's side, the Republican or the Democrat, and they're the people that's wrong. So basically you create a deception. And basically you can just run shit because the people will be locked into thinking in actuality that their lives mean something and their lives are in control because they take elected officials. Same thing like Tiva said, they do in Detroit. Everybody get mad at the fucking mayor. Like the mayor has some power. He ain't nothing but a manager. No different than he's over the fries at McDonald's. You see, but the key here is you vent your frustration out and talk shit about him like he literally has something to do with the running of Detroit. But this is a form of the fraudulent society where America is the most people in slavery because they think that they're free. You see what I'm saying? So this, and it goes into and says about education. Private education is not allowed. So you got all these so-called private schools, you fund them. And if you give them money and you fund them, you can dictate and you can control what they get because you fund them. You see? They create both Democrat and Republican, right and left. If you got a radical group that starts up, you first infiltrate and you fund. So they love radical groups because this makes a polarized society. So you thinking in actuality, oh yeah, that we talk shit about the white man. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, that brother that won't bend, that brother won't bow. And so you don't know they feeding that system. You see what I'm saying? Because if everybody went along with the system, people start to wake up. So you always got to have the right and the left, the radical, the conservative, the clandestine. You understand what I'm saying? You know, what's that, sister?
But don't they also create the illusion of poverty and disease?
Not only that, too, they say in this book that you take the poor and you give them money at the middle class expense. This creates a resentment amongst both groups and a dependent, and basically you can rule based on all of that, as well as religion, which is the greatest thing to make people to rule. So now this one is more. The other ones are the actual books that people writing about the Illuminati. This is the actual one that is the inside manual. So now the best I can do if you want this thing is that I can take your cash and you can print your thing and I can send you one, or we can find some kind of way to do it up here, whatever. But and it's not necessarily saying that I'm trying to make money. It's just a matter that you need to get this shit out to the public.
Right.
So and this is the best way I say, because this is probably the only one in America that this is the only one in America that's not outside of the order that's in my hand. And somebody said, well, who's it written by? I said, it ain't written by nobody. It's anonymous. And so they not only that, they put out a little, because it came out in 1974 to that order, but they put out a newsletter and put it in the book, so in case somebody finds it, and the newsletter is saying, well, you know, this is just some hoax. It's a hoax. But then again, the newsletter also mentions that, well, if it is real, the person who wrote it is inside the order. So you know, but it's just interesting how that happened. So let me get into some other things right now.
Yeah, we could get a zero for Kisco because they open 24 hours.
Yeah, you know, we'll think of something.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Let me get into some other stuff so you can understand what's going on. Let me get into some things. Number one, I want to talk on. You know, I've heard the David Icke. Anybody been hearing the David Icke stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I want to deal with that right now. So you can reshape on what he's doing, because he's got a crusade going around the world, and he's talking about these Reagan and Bush and the Queen and all them is reptilian. And you know, these reptilian people and all that, that's some cold shit. Number one, we're the reptilian, and the reptilian only means it's some cold stuff. The reptilian only means the Uraeus Kundalini serpent. The staff of Tahuti, the Kundalini energy inside of you is what they're talking about. So it's code word. When he say these reptilians, they're talking about black people, so it's talking about your ass. And they're giving you the Illuminati and all of them, and they can somewhat verify what they're talking about as far as them being, as far as them being reptilian or into all of this Egyptian stuff, because the simple fact that they worship Egyptian symbology and they practice on the Egyptian realm and stuff. So, now wait a minute. Now, the sister, you pregnant, right? there's a chair with some padding in it. So if you want that one, you know what I'm saying? Somebody can swap up with you and stuff. If there's a chair with some padding in it. And the one with the padding in it, give her the one with the padding in it. You see what I'm saying? And also too. So basically the reptilian that he's talking about is us. Now he's on the money with the conspiratory stuff. You see what I'm saying? But even when he went to Africa with this African priest and it was talking about the Quaker Mutwa or something, and the guy, what he was talking about when he talked about the Chitterari, he was talking about the same thing I talk about when I talk about this demiurge, or these people that rule over our lives this, in the spirit realm, that don't want to relinquish power and know that we are rising up. So it's a difference what he was talking about. And when David Icke was interviewing him, he was trying to make like that these people have something to do with the Queen of England and all these type of things. Them just straight up white people. And they didn't say they come from Mars. Please, how the hell a white man could come from Mars and he didn't even discover America? I mean, didn't even know that he knew that the earth was round. He knew the earth was flat. And you understand, he always discovering shit. I mean, if you that advanced, damn. You can get in a place and come here, but yet you know what I'm saying, you got to invent a damn something as inferior as an airplane or automobile. So you know that's all bull. Basically the Mars thing has something to do with Horus. Heru is the god of Mars. So when they talk about this Mars, see, all this stuff is a part of trying to take African symbology, make it literal, like Mars, they come from Mars, they are reptilians, and try to change this thing around when in actuality he works for the same damn people that he says that he's not. Because anytime you see his book selling like hotcake and Barnes and Nobles and Borders and all that kind of stuff, you see what I'm saying? That means that he working for the whole deal also too. His conspiratory thing, you can learn a lot from him based on his conspiracy stuff. So if the brother get him here and all, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things whereas, you know, this incognito, just like I'm doing with the white boys down there, you know, saying I'm a Republican conservative. You see what I'm saying and all, you know. I might go up in their sheet one day just to, you know, but anyway, that's what the deal is on him. The reptilian and draconian and all those things, that's us. You got to understand, he's taking esoteric symbology and turning it around. Now, what's getting ready to happen with this thing is also this. The Martin Luther King thing, where they just concluded right before Christmas that the Martin Luther King thing was a conspiracy. Well, they hadn't even got to the doggone Kennedy shit yet. They say, well, the Kennedy thing was a conspiracy. Now, come on now. Since when did the white man take care of your business before he take care of his own? You understand what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, this conspiracy, we all knew it was a conspiracy, but this is also some stuff to lock you down. And you get all emotional and all tapped into this thing. You see what I'm saying? And so basically they're going to come out with all these conspirators and all this thing here, but it's also going to lead to Jesse Jackson too. And his little people that was around him too. So he going to be in the bunch too when they start naming names. You know, Coakley is already talking about that, but that whole thing, I think it's a bigger order and stuff. And so it's going to also lead to him too. You see what I'm saying? It's going to lead to him too also. So I just wanted to say that this is also a form of mind control, and they're also running scared. They're also running scared also too. Now this is one of the main things I want to deal with right now, and I hope that I have the paper because this is very key. Now I want you to understand the seriousness of this, and try to direct you so you can try to. Let me see if I can find one. Well, let me get this first. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see if I can find one of these papers. See if I can find one of these papers. Let's see. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, okay, good. See if I got a memo. First of all, show you mind control. This is the Vogue Millennium Special that came out during Christmas.
Right.
With all these women. You see. You know, you got two black women up in there, honorary Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Up in here and all. But nevertheless, this is the Millennium Special. So in this book, they're going to start showing, oh, this is a century of women. You know, women really got it together, you know. Got out of freedom. Because it was freedom for white women, you know, following your ass. And, ooh, they have a picture of an astronaut. Ooh, they have a picture of Blythe Danner and her daughter Gwyneth Paltrow. Another picture somewhere that had whole hair, I don't know. A writer. Ooh, pictures of women in the military. You know what I'm saying? I think it's that sister there might be. No, that's a woman, and there's two of them right there and all. Why do sisters always end up looking like that? You know. Here's one, they even trying to copy the ethnic thing. You know, we even going global with the shit. Body painting and all this type of stuff. Ooh, cheerleaders and, you know, different color guards or whatever, you know. Whoever, you know, whatever you call them, majorettes or whatever. Ooh, here's some dainty white women coming from a bridge party, you know, tea and whatever the shit is, the British looking stuff, you know. Crumpets or whatever, and with their little, so they go to meeting hats on and shit, you know. Ooh, you know, but just real classy. Here's a woman that's abroad, you know, the actress and stuff, you know. Just showing the different women in the different roles, if you can see this thing, you know. Ooh, here's a old cracked up cracker, but still yet, you know, just the elderly matriarch, and ooh, here's two Supreme Court justices. Now this is getting major now. Wow, two Supreme Court justices. You know, here's Courtney Love. She represents the leftover hippie style, but that's even still noble. Yeah, right. You know, and stuff like that. You know, 'cause they went through that whole 9 yards. Oh, here goes some real nice classic crackers. You know, with the paintings and you know the whole Victorian look. You know, dainty and stuff that we try. Here's Oprah. You know, she earned the right. She done buck dance enough. You know what I'm saying? To be on here and all. But see, there's something freaky about her. You see, my point is this here. It's one thing to say that, you know, I don't really want to get married. And you got $1 billion, you the richest woman, and I don't really want to get married, and you know, and that's cool. But here's a woman that announced her wedding, and got more money than any black person in the world, but can't seem to land a man that she says loves her and is supposed to be getting married to her, who is gay. So that's some freaky stuff. See, they don't put you up there now unless you have some type of offshoot clandestine lifestyle. Now, my point is, why don't you dump this Stedman ass and get you, I mean, shit, half the niggas up in here goddamn shack up with Oprah. And Oprah ain't looking bad now, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying and all, you know? You know, so my point is this, but that's that old freak shit still. You understand what I'm saying? They tell her what to do. Now, it's one thing to say you got, now I'm not saying this patriarchal thing that you ain't worth nothing unless you have a husband. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about a person that says she wants to get married and got all $1 billion in the world and can't seem to land a husband. That's some freaky shit. You know what I'm saying? She can dust off 1,000 niggas off the street in Chicago and buy their ass some fineness. But yet she can find half the Negroes that's professional she can get with all the money she got. Even she didn't have no damn money. Just a damn good job. Fuck it, you know. And some good cable TV shit. Cabinet full of liquor, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I know not a lot of niggas are lining up down the road. What the dumb shit? Mean I ain't gotta work no more? Now come on, let's be. Who the hell wanna go to work? I'll be the shiftless Negro. I mean, the kind of money she making is beyond somebody supporting somebody. Damn, what the hell you supposed to do? The money she making, hell, you know what I'm saying? Be microwave back on your ass. Pop-Tarts and all. Yeah. But what I'm just saying, you know, I'm low level on it. I won't make no waves and shit and give it to her. I just talking about, you know, little blender here, whatever type thing and all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Lady pipe when necessary, you know. And then, you know, so whatever the deal. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, here go a woman in a doggone. Ooh, she's a drag race. I mean, they really did it all up. Ooh, look at these fabulous women in the doggone holiday gown balls. You know, they wear these things during the holiday, you know, and all, you know, just real classy. Ooh, just classy. And then look, then this represents your black ass. See? See what I'm saying? Now you got to understand mind control.
That's deep.
And look how classy this woman is in all the black. Oh, she's strolling down Broadway. And look at this goddamn hoe here with her titties all out.
Right.
A blonde ass wig on. Now wait a minute, hold on. Lil' Kim ain't had a fucking album out since '96. But yet, they got her up in here representing you for the millennium. You understand what I'm saying? This is a form of mind control. You got to understand how she's sandwiched in between class.
Yeah.
And we ain't talking about just class based on European. They could have put some African sisters up in there, or just could have put some sisters. Why couldn't you have some sisters in some dresses like this?
Put some classy sisters in.
Classy sisters or whatever. No, but you got to understand, sandwich in between, and then not only that too, sandwich in between. See, black and white is real prestigious.
Yeah, right.
See, your black and white photograph is become an art form in America. Now she becomes a color one and is sandwiched in between another black and white photo, and this looks classy, and look at this goddamn freak here. This skis asshole here. You gotta understand what time it is. You see what I'm saying? This is a form of mind control. Then they got her on Out Magazine. Out Magazine is the gay magazine, and she's saying she wanna be the gay diva. You see what I'm saying? Her on Out Magazine. You see, so even though they have a nude here, but that's a nude. You've seen this in art houses and museums for years. So this is considered classic compared to this mug here. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And then all these powerful so-called women. You see, they got it. They got Iman here, but like I said, she married a man that wore a dress during all the '70s, David Bowie. But my point is that she, and Naomi Campbell, she done slept with enough white men to earn a place, up here and all this kind of thing here and all, because she made Vogue a lot of money. But the point I'm trying to make, this is a form of mind control.
Yeah.
And they got her plastered all over on buses in New York. Now they got your boy Tyrese all in big billboards. They got a picture of Tyrese with his shirt off. That's the new singer, But then they got him. They got a picture of Tyrese laying on the couch with his head on a white woman's lap. Mm-hmm. See, this is a form of mind control. You see what I'm saying? In the millennium, to say in actuality, these people are savage. You see what I'm saying? These people have lost their doggone mind. You see, have lost their mind. Let me see something else. Bear with me 1 minute.
Well, even Oprah was in front of. She was sitting on the front porch of what looked like a sharecropper shack.
Yeah, that's right. Same old slave thing. Mm-hmm. So we want to go into also too, because I compiled a list of all the black men, and these are black people that's married to white people, was married to white people, or was sleeping with white people. Past, present, and tense. But we got the list here of all the famous black people, so we'll run the roll call down. James Earl Jones, Sammy Davis Jr., Harry Belafonte, because I compiled this list back in '92 and I had about 60 people. But since then, I got up to like 100 and something, and then the brothers, because I've been out of sports for a while, so when I went to Indianapolis, the brothers that was still had me was into the sports. They gave me all the new people in the sports arena. Right. And so we'll even put some more in here if you can think of some. So James Earl Jones, Sammy Davis Jr., Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, you all know these, Dorothy Dandridge, Leslie Uggams, Barbara McNear, remember her? She was an actress in the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. Pearl Bailey, Scatman Crothers. These is Herbie Hancock, Lynette McGee, Wesley Snipes, Sleeping White and Sleeping White. Red Fox, he had him an Asian, Montel Williams, he married him a strip hoe. Erica Alexander, that's the sister that started off on Cosby, the dark-skinned sister on Living Single. She got her white boy and all. Kim Field, she got her Korean and stuff. Cuba Gooding Jr., Lynn Whitfield, she divorced him, but she married one when the guy who produced the Josephine Baker story. So we talking about past and present. Lynn Moody, remember her? She was a star in the late 70s, early 80s. Sonny Rollins, jazz player. Gregory Hines, Quincy Jones, Iman, Naomi Campbell. She's going with a whole bunch of white guys. Tay Diggs, that's the old fine black nigga that all the people falling over in
The best man.
Best Man and How Stella got a groove in. Tay Diggs, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Charles Barkley, Robert Parrish, Ray Allen. Who's Ray Allen? Basketball. Casey Jones. You know, Casey Jones used to be the coach of the. He was a basketball player, but he was also the coach of the Celtics. Grover Washington Jr. Anne Marie Johnson. That's the woman off The Heat of the Night. Yeah. Alfie Woodard, Jack Johnson, Melvin Van Peebles, Richard Pryor, Wilt Chamberlain. Now hear this bastard here. Savage, the black woman. He was the first person to stand up and say the black woman wasn't about shit in the 70s. He was the first one to do that stuff. So the hell with him. You see, I polled for the passing of him, and may he be haunted. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now here's a nigga that said that he never lived until he got him a white woman.
Yeah, right.
Then you see, this is interesting about him. Then the white man, the white man is real funny. If you buck dance for him, he don't never really trust you.
Right, because you know you're a traitor.
Because he know you're a traitor. So this is what happened with him. Now they had him to come out back in 97, 96 and say about how all these basketball players, you know, they running wild, you know, they going crazy, they don't even play the game right, and they fighting and they just acting like fools. And they're not even the same integrity. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. First of all, nigga, your ass retired. And if the NBA got some complaints, what the hell you doing speaking the fuck out? Let the NBA talk about how these Negroes, but you don't come with your Uncle Tom ass and go to bat for the NBA. Right. Oh, well, let me tell you what happens. See, the white man don't never, see, it always backfire because when you buck dance for him, he don't never respect you. So here it is, he got caught with some marijuana a couple of years back, a joint or two. And then when he go to try to buy an NBA team, the NBA said, no, hell no, you can't get no team, you got a record for marijuana. And I say, see, that's good for your ass. The same people you went out there and talked shit about, all your black brothers and sisters, don't matter what they do, that ain't your business. You understand what I'm saying? The same people you turn around, and now the same NBA telling you can't get no team or buy into no team and stuff over some bullshit. Hell, marijuana, hell, damn, the president and all the president people that's running done smoke some joints, and they getting ready to be the president. George Bush.
George W. Bush.
Cocaine. All of them, cocaine and all of them. They getting ready to be the president. Here your ass and stuff got caught with a joint, and you can't spend your money?
Right.
Now here's Clinton. It ain't no stuff with no Monica Lewinsky. The woman, the Flavors woman came out during his campaign and say this nigga screwed up.
Right.
They still voted it in. But yet, see, you the white man's nigga. You see. So good for his ass. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Tiger Woods, because he got him a white woman now. Tim Duncan, this basketball player.
Yeah.
Stacey Dash, she played in Clueless. Tandy Newton, that's the Latin, she got a white man. Diana Ross.
She halfway.
Diana Ross, Maya Angelou, she got like what? This is her third white man.
Right.
Diane Carroll, Lena Horne, Leontine Price. Donna Summer, she said she don't like the way black man smell. Puff Daddy, sleeping white and sleeping white. Prince, got him a white girl. Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, LaToya Jackson, all the shit. Debbie Thomas, that's the one that failed, you know, that failed in the Winter Olympics, ice skater. Darian Hayward, you know, he's a black actor, played in the Jesse Owens story and a couple of things. Darian Hayward.
Roots.
Roots. Olivia Cole, she was in Roots. Carl Weathers, Whoopi Goldberg, Nell Carter, Madge Sinclair.
Oh, not her. Oh.
Yeah, she had one. Roxy Rocker. Remember Roxy Rocker, the one that was married to the white man on the Jefferson? She had one in real life. Jimi Hendrix. We don't care. You know, Jimi Hendrix. Lou Rawls had one. Remember he, you know, Shaka Khan. Yepit Kehoto, they just killed him off on the TV show, what, a Law and Order, whatever that thing was? Homicide. Richard Roundtree, now you know some sad day when Shaft get a goddamn little white woman. Sad day.
A fag on the rock.
Yeah, sure did that time. Herschel Walker, O.J. Simpson, Tina Turner, Ike Turner, Della Reese, Rod Carew, remember he had that their daughter, and it was black and some Jewish thing. You know, them Jews is about 4 different races and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And one's from Spain, you know, that whole thing. So, you know, when they had the bone marrow, they couldn't find no regular trace for her, because she was, you know, multiple whatever. You see, the daughter, Rockaru's daughter, and died because they couldn't find no trace and stuff. You see, so let me go on, hold on. Rod Carew, Barry Bonds, he's a baseball player. Frank Thomas, who is he? Baseball, yeah. See.
Big brother.
Clarence Thomas, Adam Clayton Powell, had him a white girl before he conked out. One of the Pointer Sisters now just got her one. Glenn Rice, Rick James, LeVar Burton. Now you know it's a sad day when Kunta Kinte get a goddamn. He got a sister now, I think, but he had that George D. Witt from Three's Company. Kunta Kinte get one now, you know some stuff. LeVar Burton, Billy D. Williams, Linda Clifford, she was the black singer late 70s, early 80s. Louis Gossett Jr., you know, he married an Eskimo. Fred Williamson, Angela Davis. Remember, she married in '76. She married the head of the Communist Party, and now she lives with a white woman out in San Francisco, someplace also too. Ben Vereen, Frederick Douglass had one. Paula Abdul, Mariah Carey, Ray Dong Chung, Tookie Smith. That's Willie Smith. You know, she was going with De Niro for years, but when De Niro, he never got married to her, but when he got married, he jumped on and got him a white woman. See. Al Jarreau, George Stanford Brown, Denise Williams, she had one for a little while, had a little, you know, albino looking baby. Julian Bond, he married a Jew. Rosie Greer, Dennis Green, Sheikh Anta Diop, we even deal with some conscious brothers. Sinclair Drake, he married this thing he wrote a book, Black Folks Here and There. J.A. Rogers, Ivan Van Sertima had one before Dr. Ben let him get rid of him. You know, Reggie Jackson, Taj Bridges, Henry Louis Gates, he had one. Yeah. This nigga here wrote this thing on Africa. You see, Lila Rashawn, that's the one, you know, Waiting to Exhale. Yeah. As, you know, Waiting to Exhale, she was in that,
right?
Sunshine, you know. Yeah, in Harlem Nights. She getting married to one. LaFonso Ellis, D. Brown from he used to play with the Celtics or whatever. Coolio. Now Coolio got one. Mookie Blaylock, Marcus Allen, Danny Manning. These are the sports figures. Quinn Bugner, Sly Stone. Yeah. Vanessa Williams had one. You know, before the she would have been very well married if they didn't unseat her ass up there with Miss America and the white boy dumped her. Bill Cartwright, B.J. Armstrong, Tatiana Ali, she going with a white boy. That's the little girl off with the little baby girl on Fresh Prince. Right. Bobby McFerrin, don't worry, be happy, I see why. Alice Walker, didn't she have one? Mm-hmm. Yep. Kofi Annan, that's the guy that's over the damn UN. Bill Russell, he had one. Minnie Riperton, she had one before she had. Howard Hewitt, Mercer Ellington, that's Duke's son. Paul Mooney, you know, that's the one that talk all that shit about white people and all the comedian. He got one. David Thompson, remember him, basketball player, Denver Nuggets. Leroy Jones, that's Amir Baraka. Yeah. Garden Parks, I think he done had a couple of Asians and white. Lorraine Hansberry, now she the one that wrote Raisin in the Sun. Now she wrote Raisin in the Sun. Right. She dies, the white man gets all of the rights to all of her work. Then he dies in the 80s and this white woman got all the rights to the shit. To all that black stuff. Because she married that white man. Franz Fanon, remember Wretched of the Earth? He had one. Octavia Butler, she's a science fiction writer. She got one. Josephine Baker, she had several. Lorraine Phillips, who was that? Lorraine Phillips. Somebody mentioned, I'm trying to think of. Randy Moss. These are
football player.
Yeah, football player. Father Divine had one. Brian Gumbo. They said they got on the West Coast. He done been with 70 blondes. He been dating. You know, some of that stuff. You know, they can't say that stuff now. They get sued. So they inquire. You best believe that's the stuff. Because remember, they got sued a lot of times. They said, well, shit, we just tell the truth. And it would be more stranger than the shit we was making up. Brian Gumbo, one of the Vanilli brothers, you know, one of them, I think the one that died, Milli Vanilli, the one that died. Yeah, no, both of them had one. The one that died and the one that's living still got one.
That's right.
Yeah, still. And Victoria Rush, that's the black girl on ER. Also had one. I'm gonna tell you why we make this list. So you might think, well, after you wrong, man. Them people, love is love, but it's interesting here. Now, just about 90% of all our public figures marry outside the race. Well, you can say, oh no, it's all about love, but it's interesting that only 0.something like 1% of all white public figures marry outside of the race. So you saying one thing, you all loving and giving and all that old shit, but yet isn't it interesting that no major white star has anybody black? So if you're saying that love is blind and all that shit, well, why is it that they can seem to say, listen, we have an obligation, you understand, that you don't have 1%. Clint Eastwood got one now. That girl, she's Hispanic, she's a black woman. Out there and stuff, but I mean, look, she's a young girl. See, that's another thing. She's a young girl in her 30s, and so this nigga here is damn near 70. You understand what I'm saying? And he done went through a whole string of white hoes. I mean, he's an old man. Now, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Got worms and all that stuff, you know. But my point here is 1%, 0.something when it comes to white people. So you might say that that's you wrong or whatever the thing is, but that ought to tell you something. It ought to tell you also too that in a way the white man is better than us, because he does, if he's an important person, he does marry his woman in mass. He might be a son of a bitch and he might be the damn devil and the beast, but isn't it interesting that he seems to marry his woman in mass? The most elite of them. They might have a string of black women on the side or whatever, but when it comes to the icon of their family, that mother of their family, they marry their people in mass. Whereas the majority of our so-called people that is out there to the public eye marry somebody white. So you got to look at the disparity, and you got to look at some things and say, that's a hell of a doggone contrast. Then you got to understand that if it's everything and love is blind, well, why is it these people seem to make the right decision? They might be assholes. They might be freaks. But yet, here it is, most of those are freaks. You see what I'm saying? And less than you, but yet you tend to, every nigga get cut loose from a football field or get in some movie, go marry some white person. You must understand. You understand what I'm saying? This is some major slave mentality in black psychology. You see, we got to understand that. It is major when you look at the other side and add up there. You can't think of no damn white people, hardly. No major white stars to this day, even the young ones. You can't think of none. They get their woman. And as a result, by them marrying their woman, it says something when you stick with your woman, because what it does, it holds your woman up as the standard of beauty. Right. Now everybody around the world trying to look like the white girl. You understand what I'm saying? So even where we might say they're dogs and all this kind of thing, we got to look into that. Because when you see these icon figures, and they might just be goddamn Holocaust figures that kill people, but yet when we see them as the people that the world admire, they always prefer their woman, or either they put her as, even if I'm going to have a string of all kind of people, I'm going to put her as the icon in which the world look at. Whereas you, as soon as you get somewhere, we do something different. You must understand that, so you understand why is it that half these niggas like damn white women. We add to the problem every day by not trying to be, at least be like him on that level. He's better than us on that level when he damn, I mean, damn, you ain't got so much you can do in this world. The least thing you can do is stick with your own damn woman and your own man. This is some crazy stuff. But I wanted to put that out there. You see, y'all all right?
We all right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We want to just put that as Exhibit A in this whole, thing that's going down. So, Now this is the point I want to get to. I want to get to this. I want to get to this because this is extremely important. Let me see if I can find one because I want to read it out to you. I want to read it out to you. I got to go in my bag because there's the AP8 wire. But this is very important. If we don't talk about nothing, I'm going to, now when I read this to you, I know we deal with a lot of metaphysical things, but this is very metaphysical in itself because this is showing, and I got to go through the history of this to show you that the white boy is battling on a certain level and he has to destroy something known to us because it represents something that is not of him, and it represents something that was great about us, and it represents something that didn't come out of his system. So y'all bear with me because I gotta get I gotta find some of this thing because I want to show you this. Y'all all right?
All right.
Okay, now let me get some of these. It slipped my mind and I didn't pass it out. So let me know when you want to do the break.
Okay, we'll take a break in like 20 minutes.
Like 20 minutes, okay.
And H2O restaurant is downstairs.
Yeah, because we want to.
You can order some food from them. And plus Bobby has some papers over here that he's selling. And I have some products over here in the back that I'm selling. All my videos are $10 except where marked. And I have some evening oil and some diodes, some other things like that.
Yeah. And I want to get one of these papers because I want to go into this, and this is very important. Well, I think I'm just going to have to just read it from the actual newspaper. So I did find the newspaper. So this is fine. Now, because it's going to, let me do 20 minutes of this. Let me do 20 minutes of this because I want to go into the history of this to try to so you can understand what's actually going on here. Now, this is the Faith and Values paper of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Saturday, January the 1st, 2000. And it says, challenges ahead. As Christianity enters a new era, scholars say it would continue to reshape and renew itself. So Christianity is key. Okay? Christianity is key. They got the Pope down here with his old rheumatism arthritis ass. You know. But they're showing now that this is very key. You got to understand this. Number one, this is the January the 1st. Okay? That's very key. Okay. On the same page is a picture of the Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Right.
Nation of Islam message of unity. Show you on the same page. Big, white hands praying. Small, Minister Louis Farrakhan. This represents the sustaining and the rise of the reemergence of the Christian fascism that killed so many people as a doggone war machine. You know, you had the land, they had the Bible. You got the Bible, they got the fucking land. You know the deal. Missionaries, mercenaries, all of it the damn same. Preying on indigenous people. That's what Christianity is, a slave machine. And it goes right along with slavery and capitalism. There's no way you can separate the two. It is why you are not. And it is the glue that keep you in place for not being shit. Let's not be funny with this damn mess. Now, here it says the Nation of Islam leader, Louis Farrakhan, re-emerging in the public after months of illness, says that his near-death experience, look at the lie this nigga is talking about,
Yeah, it's terrible.
has changed him. Speaking recently in Chicago, a fit-looking Farrakhan has preached the message of unity of all races and religions for the next century. In the past, he has publicly criticized whites, anti-whites, Catholic, and Semitic remarks. He says, anti-Semitic remarks, only through our atonement can we be forgiven for what we have said and done to injure human beings. A member of another race, a member of another religious group, or another nation or ethnic group. Farrakhan 66 told about 200 supporters at the Nation of Islam mosque on the south side, we must try to end the cycle of violence and the cycle of hatred. And we, first of all, only motherfuckers black people killing is their damn self, so fuck the dumb shit. You understand what I'm saying? Now this might sound beautiful to an idiot, but this is one of the lowest points in American history. We'll go into that in a few minutes. Hatred. He has been recovering from political, from complications, from the treatment of prostate cancer, and has been a vital circulation since. It has been vital, a virtual circulation, since his near death began to circulate past spring. So now this, first of all, this is some stuff. This is government mind control. First of all, what he said here seems like somebody wrote it for him. Now, let me give you the information on what's going down here. First of all, we as black people has got the shit kicked out of us, especially the last 12, 13 years. You don't understand that the number one prisoner in America is the black man that surpassed black people, surpassed the white man, and although we don't even live in half the states. All that top part of the United States, we're not in. South Dakota, North Dakota, Vermont, all that shit. Oregon, Washington, we don't even live in them things. But yet we represent the number one incarcerated person since 1996 in the world. Because the number one people is, the most people incarcerated in the world, even greater than South Africa, is America. They're number one incarceration in the world. So you think you're free. The number one person incarcerated in that system is the black man. So they're telling you that the black man equals prisoner. And they're going to show you this shit on the Academy Awards coming up. Now this is all metaphysical because this all has to do with mind control on what's going on. Now, we get into that. Now hold me to the Academy Awards after we finish this up. But this is all important. First of all, we don't have to apologize to no fucking body, because especially when we get our behind kicked. You understand what I'm saying? And number one, our apology don't mean a hill of beans to people on the go. Everybody got more than us, so who gives a damn? But this man is literally selling you out by apologizing. It's because this. Number one, this man, first of all, he ain't had no near-death experience that told him that he got a doggone love his enemy. That's some bullshit. That's a part of the damn plan. That's why they even announce him having that stuff. Let me explain this to you. Now, this man is a government agent. He's been a government agent since the 1950s and had his hand in killing Malcolm. I know people are afraid to say this shit because they're afraid of what the retaliation with the Nation of Islam. But then again, on the other hand, every morning I wake up, I'm like, he on this bullshit planet again. So if a motherfucker blow my brains out, he'll be doing me a damn favor. But with my damn luck, I couldn't buy no fucking bullet. So I'm reversing the shit about, well, you ain't gonna get killed. Hey! We did a ritual on the night of the Super Bowl. The next morning when I woke up, I was one more hurt motherfucker because I was still here. That's right. So I don't want to hear no shit about being scared. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to get to the other realm. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, like, man, you gonna go running? I said, no, I ain't gonna go running. I ain't gonna go running. I ain't gonna do none of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to die. So damn, some health shit. That's a whole nother story. You understand what I'm saying? But, so I'll say it. Number one, now let me go through the history of this so you can understand where I'm coming from. Number one, we had a lot of black leaders in this country and a lot of movements. Garvey was gone before it could get going. 1920s, it was over. Du Bois was an intellectual, but Du Bois was an aristocratic man that in actuality the first 30, 40, 50 years he was trying to merge black people in elite white society till he found out that shit wasn't going to do something and turn radical at the end of his life. You understand what I'm saying? Now, whether we like this or not, the biggest organization known to black people in the Western Hemisphere of the United States of America is the Nation of Islam. I'm sorry. That was created by black people because we know that the Civil Rights Movement was created by Jews and the Ku Klux Klan. I got a whole tape on that. The history of the Klan is killing New York. And I think I got a copy here, so we'll try to get a copy of it before we at least leave one here and all. But the Civil Rights Movement was started by white people. The Jews started. They even wrote his famous I Had a Dream speech. So, you know, and this man was a Boule member and a government agent for both the British intelligence and the United States government. Martin Luther King. You see what I'm saying? And like I told you, all Martin Luther King, they got Martin Luther King boulevards all across the country where black people are, and even some states where they're not. But when you go to the original Martin Luther King Street in Atlanta, and instead of going doggone west, you go east on it, towards town, and you stay on it, and you'll end up into the Confederate graveyard. The graveyard where first of all, where's the capital of the Confederacy? Atlanta. The Confederate graveyard, even Margaret Mitchell, the bishop wrote Going with the Wind, she's buried there. And all the high Klan members, this is their most elite stuff. Well, I want to ask you something. Why would the street of this black man start in the Confederate graveyard? Because he was a government agent, one of their greatest agents. You've been fucked up ever since that damn civil rights shit came down, because it destroyed your empire. Before that shit, you had everything. Now you don't have nothing. Oh, you got more money and you got cars and all, but you don't have no community, no nothing. You are a dispersed people. You understand what I'm saying? And the only significant people in the town is brothers like you and I. Rest of the motherfuckers ain't shit. Breath though, it ain't even worth putting breath in them. Now, the key here is that the #1 organization was the Nation of Islam, and what was so spiritual about it, it was started in mysterious origins, and the wisdom came from a man with a 3rd grade or 4th grade education. And that's why the government, understanding spiritual laws, they understand that this is the manifestation of a group of people, and the manifestation of a rise of a sort of priesthood that was prophesied in ancient rabbinic lore from ancient Hebrews, as well as the Hermetic literature, as well as the Camelot, in the Moorish doctrine of the Camelot and the Arthur's Grail. So they understand and they located and they pinpointed that. That's why they had to work around the clock to destroy it. You see what I'm saying? And the main way you do that is to put an infiltrator up in there. You see what I'm saying? Now this man had a 3rd grade education. #1, he told you that black people was crazy. Long before anybody else did it. Carter G. Wilson alluded to it. About the miseducation of the Negro. But it wasn't until Nathan and Julian Hare in the 70s, and Naeem Akbar and other people in the 80s say, yeah, there is something wrong with the way we think. But Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it damn 60 years ago. You understand? He told us that the white man was the devil, but you know what that also means also too? If you can't even buy the mythology, now David Icke and all these white people that come around, they're telling you about the Illuminati and these people controlling people's lives. Well, that all went under the banner of what Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you. If the man the damn devil, then all that shit would apply.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he told, for the 4th grade education, just about all of the science of greater knowledge and mysteries, and he told us we was the oldest people on the earth long before they start coming up with the whole anthropology thing. So my point is this man with a 3rd grade education would say stuff that in actuality on this rudimentary level is dealing with all the stuff we're dealing with now. If you just take it and magnify it into the stuff we're dealing with, so you might not think it's nothing great about that the white man does. So as far as he was concerned, once he died, they was going to make sure that they got in control, and they kept in control of that by implanting their agent. Now, so for this nigga apologizing, and he was in on the shooting of Khalid Muhammad. Yeah, this nigga was.
I believe it.
He was in on that shit. You see what I'm saying? Of the assassination that got botched up. He was in on it because this man is a government agent. Now, because, and where, that's right, that's right. Has something to do with the Malcolm thing, because the new book out on Honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying that they had an Asian up in there the whole time. That wasn't nobody but Farrakhan. That's what his name means. Turncoat. Now let's not be funny with this mess. It's not like I'm dethroning a man that's still up there fighting for you. This man done buck dancing and sold out. This man ain't been the same since the damn late 80s, early 90s. He been buck dancing for at least the last 7 years. But what it is our mind can't let go, and our mind can't accept the fact, because he was such a powerful figure. Now, to deal with this type of stuff, we said that in 1994, I went down to Jacksonville, Florida, and some brothers down there said that they had some papers on the Minister Louis Farrakhan and Wallace Dean Muhammad, the one who was the son that busted up the nation and put in all these white people and went the Orthodox way. And then basically, in so many words, after Elijah Muhammad died, the government came in and they said, we're going to bust this thing up and we're going to take 2 agents. One going to take the radical and one going to take the conservative or the Orthodox. Well, that's exactly what this damn book is talking about. That's how you rule. You create the radical and the Orthodox. You create the right, you create the left. You create, you know what I'm saying, the liberal and the conservative. And they did that. Now, it's interesting because you can get some of his tape, and he talking about how he was in a room with all this money. Anybody ever heard this tape? Farrakhan said he was in a room with all this money and didn't sell out. Now, let me break this thing down because this is very important. Y'all all right?
Are we all right?
Now, let me break this thing down to you. Number one, they said that they're going to create both sides. Told Farrakhan to take the radical, told Wallace Dean to take the conservative. Wallace Dean did his thing and broke up the nation and all that stuff because they had to do that at first. Then in 77, Farrakhan came up with the help of black people in the community of Chicago, like Haki Matabuti and them, that thought he was going to be sincere. Now, we already know that Jesse's been a government agent and had his name and had his hand in killing Martin Luther King. And what's his name has done a whole tape on that thing. Steve Coakley had his hand on killing Martin Luther King, who was a government agent. Martin Luther King. Now, how do you say, well, man, how is everybody a government agent? Because you must understand, the media does not give you someone. We'll start back when we start back. The media does not give you someone on a mass media level nationwide that is not down with them. The reason why I know is because I'm looking at me and my own experience. I'm virtually unknown. Now some sister, I told her in 95, don't put me on the cable show. She got to give them a cable show at public access up in Manhattan, give them some videos. And I said, no, don't put me on there. But the week I told that motherfucker not to put me on there, I believe she put me on there. And it was years later, and somebody said, yeah, I saw you on TV. I'm like, what the hell? But anyway, it's cool and all, but then again, it ain't me willingly going on TV. It's a video, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff. And that's, you know, so as far as they're concerned, that's clandestine anyway, and it's on cable, public access. But I'm telling you, a person that they give to you as a leader, they got white people, they don't even mention their name. So anybody that they give to you is already an agent. So so Jesse, they gave you him, but then again, Elijah Muhammad told you in the Fall of America and in Theology of Time that this man would do anything to get on the side of the white man. Well, why is it that Farrakhan comes to the world stage? We didn't know who he was until he stood up with Jesse Jackson in 1984. And the whole Jaime remark came out with Jesse Jackson, and the gutter religion came out with him. That shit is all government. And so you say, well, how is this? This man talked all this shit about white people. See, the mystery here is the white man don't give a damn if you talk stuff about him. See, the key here is we're going to build a black leader. And we want him to be radical. We want him to go around the country talking shit about white people. Okay? We raise him up to a certain level. Okay? Once we raise him to a certain level, then when he falls, that makes him look worse. You understand what I'm saying? So this was a whole plot from the get-go. And I had already known it spiritually, you know, but the point what I'm trying to make here is, I had already known it spiritually, but my point here is it's bearing witness now. You see what I'm saying? Because this man is apologizing. And he's apologizing on the 2000. So what is this saying? This is saying that in order for white people to go into the millennium, they have to get rid of and lay to waste that which was one of the most mysterious things that happened right up under their nose, the Nation of Islam. So they took one of the greatest organizations known to black people in the hells of North America, and they leveled it because they took a leader and they raised him to a certain level and a certain magnitude. And to bring him down to say I'm wrong on the page of Christianity. Meanwhile, T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar and all these goddamn buffoons is packing churches and this old dancing preacher, Kurt Franklin. This is a form of mind control. But the key, this represents 2000. This represents the total destruction of the Nation of Islam with the apology of Farrakhan apologizing for you for something that you didn't do but get kicked in the ass. You got to understand the science on the major in a little color picture, and then they made him small. You got to understand this is major. You see? This is major. So we're going to go to a break. How much time you got left?
Right now.
We're going to go to a break. For the people that want to get the rituals and the Osiris book, we got some other things. You can come up. You can come up and get the stuff. And both the Osiris book and the rituals going for $14. And the rest of the stuff on the table, if you get it, is going for $20. Because we got these things, the Starfire, for the people that didn't get that and other stuff. But these rituals are very important. You see what I'm saying? Okay, we back on now. And like I was saying, for the millennium, they had to destroy one of the greatest black organizations that was developed outside of white man's mind. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, this man with the fourth grade education, who taught all types of advanced knowledge, long before it became metaphysical, had to be destroyed. This acts as a form of ritual that is done to squash this organization to the point whereas it is seen worldwide that we don't even have no kind of balls, just some weak people, including making mockery of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad by even having a march in the first place. So look at the psychological ramifications of a people that marched in the 60s and did all of that, and here it is 30 years later and you still marching. Now, imagine how that looked all across the world.
I had something to say about that. You know, like, this is what I thought was that it wasn't the Million Man March was a catalyst, okay, to get that feminine energy up that made the second march.
Which was, in actuality, that was actually true because that one went off smooth. You know what I'm saying? That one went off smooth. So you're all right. You're all right. But this whole thing is been to take an organization and build it to the point whereas again in the history of its organization you would have a literal rise from the ashes, from the one from the 70s that ended up in the 70s, actually the 30s that ended up in the 70s, and then the rise again as big as it was. First of all, we got to understand government propaganda and government science. Any person that they give you as a media person is automatically a government agent. So that means that, so the question is, you think he's an agent? If you know of him nationally, he's an agent. I mean, they have a whole history of not only just black people, but white people that they don't even let you know about. So you know doggone well, if they giving you somebody that is for either exploitation, character assassination, or it's government propaganda in the first place. And we're not advanced enough to realize that they're not going to put nobody on TV. They're not going to put anybody on TV that's a figure for you and nationally televise that person. You see? And make people privy to the knowledge of that person. And if they do that, it is for some type of enfranchisement or some type of later day conspiracy to destroy that person, to make everybody disenfranchised, demobilized, betrayed, so you can go running back to good old time religion. Now, meanwhile, at the same time he's changing his tune and selling out, they got the rise of these big and black mega preachers. You see what I'm saying? Going all around. You see, and that's all a part of the government strategy. And so now you got thousands of people who was looking for some type of knowledge, now going back to the church en masse. Back into death. You see.
Will it later degrade those individuals also?
No, the church.
I'm talking about like Creflo Dollar.
No, those people, no. The hell they gonna degrade Creflo Dollar for? Creflo Dollar is doing he's doing the government the greatest favor. This man literally enslaves thousands of people. They'll never attack the church like they never attacked the church. So the black preacher is in because Creflo Dollar is a government agent. It's not like the black preacher works outside of the United States government. Inadvertently, or basically knowing. So that system is his system that controls people. And he damn sure ain't gonna tear down a system of slavery and control in the damn time of the 2000s.
Unless he gets feisty.
No, you don't understand where I'm coming from here. You don't understand where I'm coming from here. Look at the rationale on what you're trying to say here. Christianity is slavery. He's never going to tear down slavery, especially when his ass is almost off the planet. You see what I'm saying? So you best believe that Christianity will always be a tool to enslave minds. You see what I'm saying? So this whole thing that you have here is literally one great big ritual. As to go to the whole Super Bowl thing, which was a ritual also. Now if you take the Super Bowl as well as the 96 Olympics, and if you look at the opening ceremonies of the 96 Olympics, they were almost identical. It was a ritual to Zeus. And the last person to be seen was Ali when he almost burned his damn self up there shaking like a damn worm on a hot heater. When he almost burned himself up, he was the last person you saw. And it was a ritual to Zeus. Well, this one, they opened up with Tina Turner, and then they had the actual halftime show, and they had a celebration trying to extend life, trying to extend their rule by claiming that we're all for world peace and love and the harmony of all that bull. So they did that ritual, and they ended the ritual with Toni Braxton wearing all white like the goddess, just like they did with Ali. You see what I'm saying? This was a great ritual that went on, especially Super Bowl 2000. I want to put it that way, because it was the 2000. Even though it was Super Bowl 34, it was still Super Bowl 2000. So this was a great ritual that went on. You see, even down to the HAARP weather control, whereas they had all this bad weather down there, and it's never that kind of weather. And all, you see what I'm saying? And that whole thing was a major ritual to try to reverse energy. It was interesting because we did an actual ritual during the Super Bowl to take the same energy to unleash what is supposed to be coming to these crackers also too. So you see. To unleash that also too. So this is so these people by no means, they are working around the clock to deal with what they want to deal with. another event is any woman over 40 should try to reverse the social institution that's put upon her. Any woman over 40, what you should be doing in actuality is beefing up your sex life. So, even if you feel a little sluggish about it, you need to have the most amount of sex you can have. I don't even give a damn. You gotta go pay a young motherfucker to hit it. Quit it. It don't matter. Because what happens is this society trains you that if you have sexual desire, that something is wrong with you after a certain age. And that is to reverse a certain amount of energy that you carry even in the twilight part of this, because the simple fact, the first part of your cycle is used for childbearing. So the energy is a different type of energy. You are at your sexual height after the childbearing are going near, because the hot flashes and all that is a spiritual phenomenon that's going down. So whenever you having the changeover, that's when you're supposed to start having more sex, because that means that your energy is used for greater spiritual purposes. And as a result of having more sex, you are coming more and more to spiritual evolution, as well as destroying the damn planet and putting yourself to freedom what you're trying to deal with. But it's a form of socialization that you must start doing, because the woman in actuality gets more powerful as she gets older. You see what I'm saying? Because you no longer have to share it with the childbearing years. You see, and sex is psychological. If you tell yourself you don't supposed to be having it, that's what will happen. But if you think horny thoughts, your ass will be horny. It's all about a psychological thing. So anything that's supposed to be horny, that's what you're supposed to be dealing with right now. This is spiritual.
Would they have anything to do with the Kundalini rise?
It's all the Kundalini energy. But it's a powerful Kundalini energy, and we're talking about a life force at this particular time, but I'm talking about getting downright freaky. That's what time it is. Male murder, chauvinist murder cults, what we call religion, has shut down the potential. You see what I'm saying? That's why the woman is blamed for everything. But especially when we talk about a woman that gets to a certain plateau in age. So therefore, we talk about anybody at 40, 50, 60, that's when you really supposed to be getting it on. You see what I'm saying? As well as putting yourself through some real strenuous exercise, even when you don't want to, you say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. You see what I'm saying? The more you have sex, the more you want sex. Bottom line, it's just like anything else.
So that's got that one lecture that says, "Woman, thou art loose."
Yeah, right. Well, you know, Mr. Government Agent. You know. So basically, psychologically, they train you to think opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? And especially to get a hold of this energy. So basically, the energy when you beyond the childbearing is meant for sexual energy, sexual tantra, sexual illumination. But that's the time when you shut down, talking about I'm all old and shit.
Yeah, but usually your husband is dead and gone.
Yeah, true too. But see, the thing about it is, that free you on up, shit.
Thank you.
So right now, you know, you got several spells up in there.
We need to have a stroll like that.
So you got several spells up in there for attraction, you know what I'm saying? So find one of these niggas under your wheel. You see what I'm saying? And you know, that's just now, as far as the older males I'm just saying, we just got the short end of the stick. I'm not talking about me per se, because I'm in my prime. I ain't 40 yet, but. You see, you know, but, and I'm running from sex most of the damn time. But my point here is, I'm just saying the brothers got the short end of the stick, so if you got to go young, then go young, but then again, Viagra. The white man got a solution for everything, for some brothers that ain't impotent, or you know, or just impotent or whatever. You know, so yeah, so. But this is a certain energy that they must, that religion and all shuts down the actual female, and this is literally a bridge. So it's a reverse. The same way you was thinking about sex when you was a teenager, you got to get back to that mode now, because the sex now is talking about a form of illumination. You see what I'm saying?
When you tap into the knowledge and get your melanin going,
yeah,
it just
exactly
tap into that sexual energy all the time.
Exactly. You see, so this is some stuff also too. Now, yeah, you right. You're right. Now this is interesting because there was a movie came out right before Christmas called Bringing Out the Dead with Nicolas Cage. It was a Martin Scorsese's film. And anyway, this movie talked about, see, they go in and they literally bring these movies out and they'll actually admit certain things that happened in the last 10 years. So they said this movie took place in the early 90s when the country was being gripped by this particular drug called Red Death. Then they went on and said it was a mixture of amino acids and cocaine, heroin. Either way, basically what they was talking about, they throw you off with the heroin thing, but in actuality it was a mixture of amino acids and cocaine cooked into a rock, crack. And amino acids, as you know, is one of the main components of melanin. So in actuality, when they said amino acids, I knew then that in actuality, and they said it took place in the early 90s, then you know in actuality they was talking about crack cocaine, but it was literally bearing witness that they actually used the crack cocaine used the crack cocaine and put the actual amino acids, which is nothing but melanin or melatonin in it, to get people hooked. You see what I'm saying? So they bear witness to that in this particular movie. Another movie to go see when it comes on video is a movie called A Fight Club. Had a lot of stuff up in there, where these white boys was rejecting this particular European society that's telling you in actuality you ain't nothing not unless you buying and consuming. So they would get in this thing and beat the hell out of each other as a matter of lashing out against the system, and it later on became an entire a cult organization, and it was all based on the imagination of one man. There's another movie that also deals with death, because you know of Sixth Sense is out, Ghost, Spirit Lost. There's another movie that deals with death in a movie called Lulu on the Bridge. It's on video with Mira Sorvino and Harvey Keitel. Lulu on the Bridge. Go see that movie and all, because it also goes and shows how you can die and not necessarily know that you're actually dead. Now it's interesting because what happened was this. Let me give you this particular part, and I knew what it was. Back in October, I think right after I left here, and we was riding in a car, me and this other brother, and another car hit one car, and the other car hit us, and just busted out our back lights. But of course, you know, we sick as hell now. You know, I went for physical therapy and shit. 6 weeks like Christopher Reeve. So yeah, man, cranking backs and all that stuff, you know. And don't go to the car, go to the doctor. Run the bill up.
Yeah.
But then they was taking my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was high. I knew it was high, but it was high for taking Hemmitt and other stuff. So it was a metaphysical high, because one of the sisters that was a psychic said your blood ain't high, but it was literally reading high on the thing. So they was all concerned and all, but basically I told them, I said, well look, when I come back tomorrow it's not going to be high. So I came back the next day and the shit was down normal. by basically just telling the entities inside your blood called melanocytes, which is a form of melanin. And we'll get into that, like mermaids. Mermaids is a literal entities inside your blood that in actuality that was original mythology of the ancient world and later on turned into literal figures of fairy tales and all. But mermaids is actually entities inside your blood. You see what I'm saying also too. Which they're calling this extraterrestrial civilization. And we'll get into that and all. But anyway, I just imagined it, imagined my heart slowing down and told it, the entity to slow down. And basically when I came back the next day, it was way lower. And it was all amazing stuff. So I'm trying to say, you can do this if you get out of letting you can do this if you don't let a doctor convince you that your mind can't do shit. It is all based on his medicine. So they're saying, and even the guy, Dr. Richardson, because it was a holistic doctor I went to, he was even talking about how they had patients and put them on meditation, and basically the high blood went down totally when the doctors tell them they were going to have to be on medication for the rest of their life. So basically, you have the power to do that, but even now in this millennium, in this crossover, you especially have the power. You see, although we could have been well into the millennium because we know that we don't know what date it is, and we know it's beyond 2000, whatever, on the African thing ran out, but if it is, that's still close enough that they don't want you, too close for them, let's put it that way, and all, too close for them and all. So it's interesting now. I'm going to go into a whole section of this also tomorrow, but I'm going to introduce it tonight. We often wondered, how is it that the Europeans could take the earth when there was just a short period of people, short amount of people? And how can they take over the earth? You see what I'm saying? In a short period of time and being outnumbered by thousands of indigenous people. Well, it's interesting here because if you get the movie Ravenous, anybody saw the movie Ravenous? It's really grotesque. And the Native Americans have a secret, and mainly, and they talk about the Native American, they don't tell you the Indian, but the Native Americans are mainly your Hopi Indian. And I'll get you the word also for this. It's a form of vampirism, where you consume flesh. But the Native Americans have a whole mystery on it, but they just didn't give you the origin of it. In the movie, they talked about the Native Americans say if you eat a person's flesh, you take on that person's energy, and you unstoppable. And if somebody shoots you, you will heal. They show part of that in the movie The 13th Warrior. You see, but which is also on video, which is a great movie you got to go see if you haven't seen it, based on the caveman and all that stuff too. But in the movie, basically, this guy was eating people, and they was all eating people in the movie Ravenous. If you got a hard stomach, this ain't the movie to watch. If you got a weak stomach, this is not the movie to watch, because they go at it up in this shit here. I mean, it's blood from the beginning to blood to the end.
That's the White Roots.
Yeah, I mean, this thing here is something else. But it's interesting here because what the movie was talking about, how you eat somebody, take on the energy, and you can be unstoppable. Well, it was interesting because there was a book called The Secret of the Golden Flower. And this one came out in 1939. And in this book, it was an occult book, but in this particular book, they dealt with the same stuff that they got off of ancient papyruses that the Native Americans saying. So I'm telling you that white people took over the world by eating the victims and getting superhuman strength. And it was unstoppable. What's that?
That goes along with the Aztec and Mayan Indians used to do. They would sacrifice, eat the heart of the warriors that they captured, and
right,
throw the body down for the rest of the warriors.
Exactly.
And take on their spirit.
Exactly. So we're saying this is I talked about the whole concept of vampire and all that before, but I was talking about basically a lot of the mythology. Dracula was all based on Dracula was all based on, because Bram Stoker saw Dracula in a vision. He had a vision of this and wrote Bram Stoker's Dracula. And basically, it's a book of the underworld. As a matter of fact, there's only 2 best-selling books in the world. Number 1, the first one is the Bible. And second to the Bible is Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is like a counter to that bullshit Bible. But then again, on the other hand, we can't say that because the Bible is an ancient mythology. You can go into the Bible and find what you want. You know that. But I'm talking about as far as a theology is slavery. But this whole vampire thing and eating the bodies and ingesting this particular bodies, especially melanated bodies, they was able to take over the world with superhuman strength and lose less people because you can even get shot with this stuff and still survive. You see what I'm saying? And still survive. And basically, this is the whole entire preoccupation with the entire Illuminati, which even in David Icke, the woman, the mother goddess, the white woman and stuff. Number 1, they're all working together, but they still, even though they're working together, she still dropped some stuff when they were saying that she went through all these rituals. And they said, well, what was you doing? They said it was eating blood. They was eating the body. They said, what was in the body? She said, it was what was in the blood. Said, what? Endarkens. Mm-hmm. And as you know, anytime you hear the word endarkens, that means melanin. That means melanin. Which leads me to, I'm going to go back to that in a few minutes. In a few minutes. But which leads me to, let me see something. I just want to cover a few things that I might have marked on this piece of paper before I go to some other notes. Bear with me 1 minute. I just want to see that I clear out most of this stuff. Now I'll go back to this in a few minutes. But it leads me to some other stuff. First of all, these are 2 white people on this thing is wearing on this advertisement. It's about shades and watches. But on here they're wearing these shades that they're wearing is a certain shade, and I want you to get this thing on here if you can zoom in that close. They're called Cold Melanin XP glasses.
What?
You see, Cold Melanin XP glasses. And this is the hottest thing so they can see, white people. You see what I'm saying? Or this is the things that these stuff so the sun don't tear them up. You see what I'm saying also too. So we're talking about an entire industry. From health food to all types of sunscreens, even down to jewelry. They was making lampshades out your ass, out of the whatchamacallit, so they're making shades out of you. Out of the Jews, they're making shades out of you. So this is what they have on these 2 white people. Cold Melanin XP glasses. XP glasses also too. Number 1, if you can get a hold of this is a book that deals with the Jews and the Moors in Spain, and it deals on how they was created, and it deals with all the secrets on the Jews. And the name of this book is called The Dictionary of the Khazars, Khazars, the Khazars, those Jews. A lexicon novel by Milorad Pavic, Milorad, Milorad Pavic, P-A-V-I-C. If you can get a hold of this will drop all the science. Because remember I was telling you that they was going to put all the stuff in so-called novels? All the science, but this is one. It's a lexicon novel. Well, a lexicon is a dictionary. You see, so all your science is in this book. It's called the Dictionary of the Khazars. You see, of the Khazars. Also, there's a whole, I think, did I get you to show you Iberia of the Peninsula the last time I was here? Which is a Moorish, it's one of those role-playing books called the Iberia of Peninsula, it's called Iberia. Iberia is the name of it, and it's called the Tribunals of Hermes, and it is an entire role-playing book, comic book, on the Moors in Spain. And how the Jews was invented by them, and how they were the greatest intellectuals in the world. And They said that we need to go to Morocco to take hold of the Moorish mind so we can learn from them. And it goes into all that. Iberia, it's called Iberia, the Tribunals of Hermes. You can get this in, these are books that you can get in the, in your comic book stores, in the role-playing section. There's a book called The Nephilim, Occult Role-Playing. That's one. There's another one called GURPS, Voodoo. And this is a role-playing game where these young people are being threatened that the Illuminati is taking over, and they got to resort to spiritual Vodun to fight against the Illuminati. They got to fight against the Illuminati with voodoo or Vodun. So these white kids and black kids band together to fight against the world powers with Vodun, and it's called GURPS. GURPS is the name of the company. And they put out Voodoo, there's GURPS Atlantis, there's GURPS Illuminati. All this is in a role-playing game, and this way you learn all the stuff you need to know about what's going on in these role-playing games. You see what I'm saying? In these role-playing games and all. You see, and this is the way that they do things. I'm just gonna go over this table and see, can I get some things before I, yeah, let me see, before we go on. You know, now let's see. Just don't wanna miss out on nothing. So yes, it looks like that they're gonna start this whole reparations thing off, because that's one of the keys. If push come to shove to shut you down totally, they will shut you down totally. They will even pay you money so you don't kill them in the end. So they're going to start the reparation thing off, and they'll start giving you, they'll introduce you to reparation. They did it with the Rosewood, but it wasn't as public, so they made the movie from it. But they're going to do it with the whole Black Wall Street down out in Oklahoma. What? And that's how they'll introduce you into a possible reparation. If shit gets thick, they can always pull out the money. My thing is hey, take the money, but do like them. White man speak with forked tongue, so black man speak with forked tongue. Take the money, go to the mall, but don't sign no fucking peace treaties. Don't sign no peace treaties. Speak with forked tongue. You know what I'm saying? And so this is one of the things that they're gearing up to also, is the whole is the entire this entire this entire reparation thing. All this is a form of mind control. Now this whole thing that went down this boy Johnny Rocker, that's all mind control. First of all, ain't no man gonna sit on go on no national magazine and talk about everybody in the world. I mean this man said he hate everybody damn near. But that's all a part. Now to show you that all these people work for the Illuminati, the first thing they do is to ease racial tensions. They didn't go to all the other little ethnic groups. The first thing they did is call out their bull-jive Negroes that they had invested. Well, we know that, what's your boy name? Andrew Young is a part of the Trilateral Commission, Boule, and all that stuff. So what they do, they call him out. He invites this cracker to his house. Then he has a meeting with him, and they say, we see no signs of the man as being a racist. Now, wait a minute, hold on now. Wait a minute. Cause a nigga come to your house and drink up all your damn Kool-Aid and smile at you, that don't constitute this man not being a racist. The man said what he said. And you mean to tell me the man gonna say what he says? Well, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I mean? And let's say that you didn't know that it was a sham in the first place. How can you determine one not being a damn racist? You see what I'm saying? When the racist is basically covert action and institutionalized any damn way. Right. You see, so he didn't wear a sheet to your house. Right. You see, but it goes to show you, they had him and they had Hank Aaron to come over. One day. You see what I'm saying? And then they even had your boy Isaiah Thomas to go over there. He was at the house. What the hell he doing there? He a basketball player. You see, and these niggas come in there and they have this house, they go in this house and then they come back and they say he's not a racist and we forgive him. So they got these bull-jive Negroes speaking for you. You see, and in actuality what it is, Andrew Young is a part of the Trilateral Commission, so they call him up and say, nigga, you better go get on it. You see. And it just shows you in the game on who our people work for. You see, all of a sudden he come out of the blue. He don't have nothing to do with baseball. He ain't been mayor in town 10, 15 years. And yet all of a sudden he going, oh, you can't go to his house right now and ring his doorbell, deliver paper to him, and yet he going to have some cracker come up in his house and drink up all his damn Kool-Aid. You see? So this is some stuff to show you in actuality that when the stuff gets thick, you will see who really works for who. So they get ready to put Al Sharpton up here as the new leader. He's doing all this political stuff, so he's going to replace Jesse. But like everybody's saying, they know here, agent, this man got an office inside of the Empire State Building. Now, you know the Empire State Building is some of the most highest rent in the world. And we want to know what kind of money you generating. A nigga go to jail every 4 years and you go out in March. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, where is the money coming from to have, you know what I'm saying? To have an office in the Empire State Building. So, basically, you know, this is a government agent also, too. So the last time I was here, I think I told you about the movie They Live. And it told you how we have been taken over by an artificial consciousness that resembles sleep. Remember I said that look at the first part of the movie and look at the part where they got the person on the TV set. When the movie coming on, it's a guy on the TV set, and that's the one that's talking. He said, we have been taken over by an artificial consciousness that resembles sleep. And we told you it was based on the CD technology and all that. But in actuality, also, too, is based on the cell phone. Now, you don't have to worry about it if you're already conscious. For some reason, it don't really put you to sleep because you've already gone past the level that it affects you. But the majority of the people, if you notice, man, everybody is on the cell phone. I just want to know what niggas did in 1988 when they didn't have no cell phones with it, to the point where now they can't do without it.
That's right.
But the key here is there's signals in there that's putting the rest of them to sleep. And so they got a campaign now to even get it to, it's cheaper, and now they even convincing you to buy your elementary school daughter one. So she can have a cell phone based on in case of some danger, she can call me. Well, what the hell did you do to the first damn 100 years? You see, and all this is based on the signals that's going up, and we know it also you lose memory, but on the other hand, an artificial consciousness that resembles sleep. And so now the cell phones is by the millions. You see, this is the key. So if you got one, don't really worry about it. If you're already conscious, for some reason your consciousness overrides that and you're past the point that it affects you. But if you are asleep, you will remain asleep. You see. So this is some stuff that's also going down also.
It's a drug we compare it to crack.
Well, I mean, it is amazing. It literally is amazing. Let me just go through a couple other things and see. Want to see, because this is one I wanted to talk about also too. Now this is very interesting. You go and get the movie 1980, Jacob's Ladder. In this whole movie, the guy is dead, and he don't know that he's dead until the end of the movie. Now, watch the movie, but key in on the first 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes of the movie when this guy comes and start talking to him.
Danny Aiello?
No, it's not Danny Aiello, it's another guy. It's a younger guy that comes start talking to him. And this guy says, he comes because he's trying to find out what's wrong with him the whole movie. He's seeing these demons. He's going through all this stuff. And this guy said, I need to talk with you. So he go to meet the guy. And the guy said, listen, back in 1968, now, which is very key because, let me get my notes here. You got to put this thing together. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get my notes. Okay. All right. The pineal gland produces a sand-like substance known as melatonin. The discovery made in 1959 by Aaron Lerner at Yale University. A year later, it was determined that melatonin was manufactured by serotonin, an unusual substance found in many places in the blood, the hypothalamus region of the brain, dates, bananas, plums, and some species of figs. In figs, found in tropical climates known as the Fructus regulus. Serotonin was first extracted from a rye grain, which infected by a parasitic fungus called ergot. Now this is very key because they came on TV back in November, and they said that they got a lot of pictures in Europe of Revelation. People was doing a whole lot of apocalyptic painting in the so-called Dark Ages. And what they figured out was that the Europeans ate a lot of rye bread, but by them being a type of real savage people, a lot of the bread was always molded by them being a real poor people too. And so that when the bread molded, the rye in the bread, when it gets this fungus on it, it's an hallucinogenic. So they were seeing all these visions. You see what I'm saying? They were seeing all this vision. And it's interesting because they got a book out called The Mysteries of Mana. And in this book they talk about hallucinogenics that they show all through the Bible. And all this got to do with LSD and also has to do with melanin. And this book came out and they show all the Bible passages. They go to the Kabbalah and they go to other sources, and they also talk about the mana, which is also, mana is actually melanin. But also mana is also can be tapped into based on rye and ergot, which is this parasitic fungus. So this new book that came out right before Christmas called The Mysteries of Mana. I can't think of the name. I think I got it in the notes here. And in this book they go into all this stuff and they're proving that all this stuff, a lot of the stuff in the Bible is talking about these hallucinogenics and stuff. That's the natural herbs that you go to another level on. Then you can understand why the government has been going crazy about this marijuana thing for years. You see what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with some kind of drug. You see what I'm saying? It has something to do on another level. You see. They said that it was first extracted from a rye with a fungus called ergot. Same thing they say in the book The Mysteries of Mana, which is synthetically produced today by hallucinogenic drug LSD. It is, and in some way, fully LSD can produce a sensation, intensified consciousness, and the cosmic awareness and oneness by simply blocking out the rational faculties of the mind, of the mind. It is suggested that science's LSD somehow alters the concentration of serotonin in the brain cells and in the pineal gland. It is also postulated that the so-called bow tree in which Buddha sat under and meditated was none other than the Fructus regulus plant, which provided his diet and other means of illumination. Now, if you get some of you bought the packet and you bought the first part of the book, let me see if I can read it. Give me the first part of Starfire, Gold in the Gods. First one, okay. The first one, Gold of the Gods. Only very recent that medical sciences have identified the hormone from the pineal gland, finally isolated in 1968. The essence is known as melatonin, which means night worker. Black meaning, melos meaning black, tosos meaning laborer. Also melos means apple in Greek as well as black. So you didn't bite the apple in the Garden of Eden. That means melanin. Don't tap into the melanin. Also too. Now, they said the key here is 1968. Right there in that particular part. The first page of that. Now, this is the key. They got that date 1968 that they said they first isolated melatonin. They knew about it since 1959. They isolated the hormone in 1968. Now when you go see the movie, Jacob's Ladder, he's dead. He don't know what's going on. He don't know he's dead. Whole movie going on, he's going to find out he's dead. This guy said, I need to talk with you. Apparently he must be dead too. Now they kill you. He said, I need to talk with you. He comes to talk. He said, look. He said, 1968. He go to the date. He said, I was making LSD and I had just cooked up my best batch when I got busted. He said, I was in Rikers Island. He said 2 days later, some guys come up in there, the government. They say, you got a choice. You can stay in jail or you can go to Vietnam. He said, I knew I couldn't just take it at Rikers Island. And he said he knew it wasn't going to be about no combat time. He said, they said, no, it ain't going to be about combat time. You're going to be working in a lab, working on substances. He said, so next thing he know, he's in Saigon working on a lab. He said, and what you was doing, he said, we was doing stuff, working on the dark side, straight at the bottom of the ladder. Well, the ladder of lights is also called the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is also the physical body, the chakra systems and all that in the body. Also, it's also the whole mental melanated mind process, basically dealing with melanin. He said we was dealing straight from the bottom of the ladder, which is talking about the deepest part of the structure, because the bottom of the ladder, man is at the bottom of the ladder. So the deepest part is also talking about the deepest part of the subconscious. And he said we were dealing with the dark side, and we was dealing with this particular substance and these drugs. He said morale was low and we needed to give the fighting people something, because you know they was over there fighting for a war that they didn't understand. So we needed to give them some type of drug that would make them more mean and aggressive and kill. He said, and we first tested it out on jungle monkeys. They go that word now, you know damn well. They don't call monkeys from Africa jungle monkeys. They only call black people jungle monkeys. You got to understand the code word. He said, so we first tested it out on jungle monkeys. He said, and then we tested it out on certain individuals. He said, man, I mean, they was violent. He said, so what does this got to do with me? He said, your platoon was the first platoon that we tested it out on. He said, so we killed the Kong. He said, no, you didn't. You killed, but it wasn't the Kong. He said, well, you all murdered each other. You all killed each other. Now, bam. Now let's go to date and let's understand what's going on. These movies are documentaries on things that's going down now. Now let's shift this thing. They isolate the thing in 1968. The movie comes out in 1990. Okay. The movie is not talking about Vietnam in 1968. It's talking about the urban warfare in the late 80s and early 90s. Now look. We've had gangs and we've had all kinds of skirmishes and all. We've had black self-hatred. But never before in the history of America did we kill each other in mass the way we did in Detroit, LA, Chicago, Atlanta. No, actually, in actuality, Atlanta, they got some minute aspects of it. What they did is they locked a lot of niggas. See, in Atlanta, they locked them all up with the marijuana. But they didn't have the type of gang-type activities to kill up in mass like they did. But a lot of Negroes died across the country. Then they moved to the smaller part. What the movie is talking about is they created a drug for the first time that would make you violently turn against your own brother. You see? Somebody said, well, no, you can't document that because a lot of the dope dealers was not on crack cocaine. That is true. But you must understand this about the gang members and the people that was killing each other. Oh, the last time I came to, I told you about the guy that went to McDonald's and he got a fish sandwich. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, yeah.
He got the fish sandwich and his lip got numb and his nose started draining, and basically it was the same symptoms of crack cocaine. And in so many words, the same stuff that they put in the crack cocaine, they put inside of the fast foods in target areas and made them Negroes kill each other. But that's what the movie is talking about. Jacob's Ladder is how they took LSD or they took melanin. And basically the melanin has two sides. It has a deep aggressive behavior as well as an ecstasy behavior. They cut it in half and filtered the aggressive behavior in the drugs, as well as the fast food and all the other stuff, even in the water supply. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, we turned against each other and killed each other off. And that's what the movie is about. But you have to deal with dates. You see what I'm saying? To try to understand what's going down. You see, now let me give you another piece of science. Let me give you another piece of science. You go to Blockbuster. I don't know which one, but I think most of them carry it. In your sci-fi section, there's a movie that came out it was made in 1993, and it came out in 1994 called Harrison Bergeron. Harrison Bergeron. It's on Republic Pictures Video. It was a Showtime original movie. Harrison Bergeron. It is the ultimate movie on the Illuminati and basically how they mess with you now. The movie is based on a society that at the end of the 20th century, they had two societies, one rich, one poor. And to even the playing fields, they didn't decide to make everybody smart, they decided to make everybody dumb. So in this society, if you was in a classroom, if you got an F, you was at the top of the class. If you got a C, good work. If you got an A, you got to stay after school. Something is definitely wrong here. Harrison Bergeron kept getting higher grades. They took these bands and put on their head, and when you would, your intellect would rise, they would turn up the bands and make you dumb. So everybody was stupid. And smart people was outlawed. So Harrison Bergeron, they had turned the band up so many times that his consciousness kept growing, his intellect quest kept growing about like you in this room right now. They have something about you than most niggas because it's a movie about black people. That's what the movie is about. Until they say your bands, we'd already turned them all up. He kept getting smart. They said so the result was what they call corrective surgery. Basically, they gave your ass a lobotomy. Scrambled your brain, made you dumb, fixed you. So they said, you're going to have to get corrective surgery. He said, okay then, I guess that's, but you would want that because the society applauds you if you're dumb. About like us now. We love ignorance. Ignorance is who we are as a culture. Now, fuck, damn all the bullshit.
That's right. I teach them every day.
Ignorance has become the essence of who we are.
That's right.
Because they bred us that way. You understand when somebody breeds you like a pedigree dog?
Right.
Every now and then, that old lion they done tamed come to his senses and bite off that white woman's head and shit. That Born Free Hope? Remember her Born Free? That woman got killed. Messing around with them lions. That lion came with sense when they said, hey, wait a minute. There's some prime rib up here. So every now and then, we come to our senses. And that's what happened to you. Remember in the movie, Dark City? Every now and then one of us wakes up. That's why you here tonight. But the masses, analytical ability is abnormal. Intellect is abnormal. If you take a people and make a people stupid for 300 years, then what will happen is thought, critical thinking becomes abnormal. Ignorance becomes fashionable and the norm. You understand what I'm saying? And out of style. Real bad in high school. That whole nerd shit. You know what I'm saying? So this movie is about black people. Is what it's about. The movie, they dumb you down, but that's not the point. So Harrison Bergeron looks up, and the Illuminati, because he is so brilliant, every now and then if you real brilliant, they recruit you so you can work to keep the rest of the people down. About like they do black people here, some of our best minds. Right. So the Illuminati recruited him.
Cornel
West and all, get him. We see can turn him to the other side. You see. But see what it is, we have what is called Stockholm Syndrome. Go see the movie, the last James Bond movie, the one that came out for Christmas. If it's still in the theater. The world is not enough. We have Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is when the kidnapped falls in love with the kidnapper.
400 years in Stockholm Syndrome.
So we have the Stockholm Syndrome. We love the Fier book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. The oppressed take on the mind of the oppressor. So the greatest male chauvinist, the greatest white supremacist, supremacist is black people. You understand what I'm saying? It's black people. So we have Stockholm Syndrome. You see what I'm saying? So that's why so it's really good you get a smart black person or whatever and all, and he gonna go to the other side because we love massa. More than massa love itself.
And that's why they're marrying all the white women?
That's the key. Stockholm Syndrome. Even Frantz Fanon's black skin, white mask, he told you why he did it. You see? But it represents power. I got his, some old dumb shit. Want to be like the white man, so I get his woman. But in the movie, Harrison Bergeron goes, they recruits him. So they said, well, what is this all about? When did this all start? He said, you had two societies. One was smarter, and one is richer, and one was poor. So we decided to level the playing field by making everybody dumb. And only a few people get recruited to rule over those. There's a woman going to be in there. She said, it all started at the end of the 20th century. It all started with a man named Jordan. You remember him. He retired. He came back and kicked ass anyway. Michael Jordan.
That's what they say in the movie?
They say it all started with a man named Michael Jordan. Remember him? He retired. Then he came back and he kicked ass anyway. Now this is going to really blow your fucking mind right here. To let you know that we are in some serious bullshit if you think anything is real. The movie came out in 1994. Jordan didn't return to the NBA until the spring of 1996. And he lost that year. He didn't kick ass until 97, 98. Now wait a minute, hold on now. They made the movie. They make a movie 9 months to 6 months before they release it, so it was made around the same time he was retiring. Now I want you to get the magnitude of what I'm saying here. Here's a movie that aired in 1994. Right after Jordan retired. It had to been made sometime right before he retired, but nevertheless. It aired in 1994. It went to video in 1995. Jordan didn't return to the NBA until the spring of 1996. How would they know? You see what I'm saying? 3 years. Not only that, he's going to come back and he's going to kick ass, win 2 more championships. 4 years before it's done. If the movie's made in 1994, 1997 is how many years?
3.
3 years. That's when he made the first. In 1998 would be 4 years. 4 years after he retires, but 4 years they make this movie. 4 years after the movie, it literally happens. I told you that nigga was a clone, didn't I? Now you understand. So now we got proof. Now you're going to have to deal with that. You say, well, that motherfucker, let me say some crazy shit. Well, you're going to have to deal with this. How is it we got a movie that comes out in 1994 and we can say the movie probably was made before he retired, but to sake of argument, it could have been made right after, but my point is, how would they know that he's going to even return in the first place? Number 2, how do they know he's going to kick ass and win 2 more championships? It's in the movie. And in the movie, they sit down and so Harrison Bergeron is in media, and he's a part of the TV and programming. And in the TV, they're like, oh, he said a smart joke, take that out. People shouldn't learn anything from TV. And they go through all this. So he locks himself in the studio and starts showing the people the history of jazz. Start showing them all this type of stuff that they're not allowed to know, and telling them that creative ability, being all right, being smart, being creative and genius is a good thing. And the people tuned into it. And after they tuned into it, they broke in the studio and got him out of there. And the guy was like, he said, did they watch it? He said, they watched it. He said, they didn't believe. He said, what you mean? He said, only 1.2% believe you. He said, by the end of the day, that 1.2% going to be 1.2% of that. And by the end of the week, nobody will believe you because everybody's a fucking zombie. But he was having problems at first, and he went to talk to his daddy. He said, Pop, you know, I'm having problems. This was before they recruited him. He was like, you know, I'm smart or whatever, and on. He was, and his daddy was like, listen to him, and the daddy started shortening out. But the daddy was watching the damn football game the whole time. He said, Father, his father said, oh yeah, what'd you say? And he but the whole time that father was watching that damn sports. That damn football, basketball, and boxing and all that bullshit they got niggas into. All in the movie, but the movie's all about black people. Harrison Bergeron. You see. Now let's go into some other stuff. Y'all all right?
I'm all right.
Yep.
Okay, you gotta go get that. All right. I want to deal with this right now. 1990 movie, I Come in Peace.
Oh, yeah.
Dolph Lundgren. Here's a movie where they got a blonde-haired alien going and shooting cocaine, heroin in the heart,
Right.
and then putting this thing up into their nose and pulling out this substance. Straight up melanin. Yeah, right here.
Third eye.
Third eye, and pulling out this substance.
Right.
Now, you know it's melanin, but you gotta go back and watch the movie again. He got this girlfriend, Dolph Lundgren, in the movie. And the girlfriend is a nurse, so she works in the medical profession. So he's wondering why he's seeing all these bodies with these two holes in them. So he goes, because actually he saw the guy pulling the stuff out, and he goes to his girlfriend who works in the medical profession. He said, "What is this thing with heroin?" And this is what she says. She says, I want to get this right because I think I had the note, but this is what she says. She says, heroin heightens the areas, and it heightens the blood system, and it heightens the glands to produce endorphins. Now, anybody know endorphins? Your endorphin glands is your pineal pituitary body and all that stuff. So endorphin, when they see the word endorphins, they're talking about melanin. She said to produce endorphins. And she said, which is a high sense of awareness, nature's own ecstasy. He says, well, suppose someone drills a hole after shooting you up and drills a hole. She said you would have your hands on a nearly perfect drug. She said 1 ounce would make 1,000 doses. So if 1 ounce, that means you got a fucking 1,000,000 doses of melatonin pills in your ass. In 1 ounce. Because you got to take of the skin and just the whole body is a lot of melanated parts. You see what I'm saying? She said 1 ounce would make 1,000 doses. And she said technically you would have your hands on the purpose. He said technically why? She said because no one has the technology to do that. See, they always put your ass back in the dark. You see what I'm saying? And what they're doing here is you got to look at the part. You got to look at the dates when things come out. That's how I was able to know, because I know dates. So when Harrison Bergeron, I said, wait a minute. First of all, let me see that box. And the box said 1995. I said, oh, I got your ass now, because Jordan didn't come back till 1996. But then I went ahead and I looked on the I looked on the actual, the inside of the actual part when the movie was released, and it had 1994, 1995. That meant that the movie came out in 94. The video came out in 1995. I looked on the cartridge. So I said, well, wait a minute. This movie came out with Dolph Lundgren in 1990, the same as Jacob's Ladder in 1990. 4 years before, or 3 years before the melatonin pills started hitting the market in mass in 1994, when they started hitting in mass. So they was already making a movie about it. So he goes and they catch a dark-haired alien, which represents the black man. Because the other one had blonde hair and white eyes. This one had dark hair. He had white eyes. But you know, you got to understand the imagery and what they're trying to deal with. And he's in the back of the car. And he says, if this guy, he says, stop him. Because if this guy gets back to the planet, he said, he will come back, they will come back. And they will kill millions of you to get it cheap. And it'll be a slaughter. And basically, this is what you see right here. With 10 million orphans in America. I mean in Africa. They got a talking about dying with AIDS. Remember, there's no such thing as AIDS. It's the cure that kills you. And what determines whether you got AIDS, if you just get a regular cold and go there, they go, you HIV positive. And you believe them. So this is a 10 million orphans, means that they're killing millions and millions of Africans to get it cheaply. So if one African can mean 1 million doses, that means they got this shit backed up. You understand what I'm saying? They even got some stuff called melanic, and it cures vitiligo and skin disease. You rub it on, and it kills vitiligo and skin disease. You see, so get that movie and see that movie, because they always put it in the actual movies on what they're actually dealing with. On what they're actually dealing with. Let me go back and see some other things here. It's called melanic, and it's a skin ointment that cures vitiligo. Let me go back. I'm trying to see if it got some other stuff that I'm more.
That's the movie I Come in Peace.
I Come in Peace. Get that movie. I Come in Peace.
That's what Imhotep means.
Huh?
That's what Imhotep means.
Yeah, I come in peace. He who comes in peace. Now, it was interesting. Also, Imhotep is also a form of the Christ. That's why they had to kill the Christ in the movie The Mummy.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? In the movie The Mummy. Now, this is interesting. You, sister should get a kick out of this. I don't know if I should say it and all, but then again, on the other hand, because if you lock on to this shit, I'm hightailing to the damn hills, hiding from your ass. There was a sister that's in Ghana, and she was a prostitute. And I guess the prostitute prayed. She was wanting like $4 for what she did. I'm like, shit, you need to come to America and learn some shit. But anyway, she wanted her $4. This guy went and got some from her and didn't give her the $4. And basically, based on when he got home, he didn't have no genitals, no balls, no nothing, no penis, no nothing. Was gone. He was smooth down there. And this was printed in the Ghana paper. And he ran all out in the street hollering and stuff, and ran to the cops and all, and he ain't had nothing. And stuff like that and all. And they said, well, what the hell happened? This looked like some magic or something. You know, they know. What happened? And he said, he went and got this prostitute and skipped out on paying her. And so they went back to the prostitute, and she said, give me my $4. He was all hollering and stuff like that, and also he paid her $4, and when he got back home, his things was back. This happened in the Ghanaian paper, Ghana paper, in sometime in the '99. I'm hoping them rituals up there don't do no shit like that. I don't want nobody coming blowing my head off because they ain't got no wee-wee. Because they woman done took it away. You see what I'm saying? They woman done took it away. So let me see. I just want to see what else we can deal with right now before we go into some other science. Let's see here. What we gonna be dealing with? How much time we got? What time is it?
5 to 11.
5 to 11. So we got what?
About 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes. Yeah. And then we're gonna continue tomorrow, also too. But also, what we're gonna be dealing with also too is go get the movie Dragon Slayer. And there's a lot of symbology up in there, but that's also dealing with melanin also too, in the aspect that the original wizard had to die to get his energy, and when he came back, they was able to slay the dragon or whatever. But it has a lot of symbology, and in 1980, Dragon Slayer. Get that particular movie also too. Get that particular movie also too. Now, what we're going to be dealing with today and tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with this. I did a ritual on New Year's night, on the night of the Super Bowl. And I thought the little motor was going to go off, then it did. I thought, you know, some little stuff, some other stuff was going to go down. So I was a little upset towards the end of the actual ritual. But right after the ritual, it was revealed to me something that made a lot of sense. And it was revealed to me the doorway out of here. Now, I had tapped into this before. And basically, if this is an illusion. Now, it's interesting because Carl Jung explains that in actuality, based on his particular information, and he's valid because Carl Jung, when they had these Gnostic texts that they dug up in 1945, which is the real teachings of Jesus, he went over and he purchased a whole bunch of them called the Jung Codex. And so they had concluded based on all this stuff, because he studied all this alchemy and all this stuff, that in actuality that the majority of people walking around are actually in a dream state. And I'm talking about literally, we say sleep as a play on word, you know, that brother sleep. But literally, most people are not even woke. Period. They're not even awake, period. They're just walking around and only a few people wake up. Just like the movie, Dark City. And this book here, which is an excellent book, if you can get your hands on it, by Malcolm Goodwin, Lucid Dreamer. Godwin, because it's one O.
Hold the cover up.
Yeah. Malcolm Godwin, Lucid Dreamer. It says a waking guide for a traveler between worlds. This is an excellent book. An excellent book. And it also gives you a potion for dreams. I might have to call by Cece because he gave it to me. He said it was niacin and B12, which is B6 and B12, ain't it? Yeah. Niacin and B12. You know. And I think there's some other thing like rosemary and other stuff you put under your pillow, but I know that is the thing you also take. Now, we'll go try to go into some more of this also tomorrow. But what we're dealing with here is this. If this is an illusion, then the gateway, in this particular book, as a matter of fact, I was wondering, because this book talks about how, it talks to different people like Gurdjieff and other people, and it was all talking about how one day they hope that they can wake up. One day they hope that they can wake up. So it is common amongst people who had studied that that understands in actuality that they're actually asleep. A lot of them. And so these white people saying one day they hope that they can wake up. But if this is an illusion, then the gateway to everything has to be during sleep. Now, how I originally tapped into this was back in 1998. I was sleeping one day, it was in the spring of the year. And I was in my dreams, and then I woke up in my dreams. And I was into this cave, and I was conscious I was in this cave. And what made me wake up is when I got to this cave in my dream, it was so dark. So either I was already waking or already, it made me wake up. And I was in the dream. And I said, man, it is black. I'm going to double back. This thing is too dark. And then I woke up and said, hey, wait a minute. Shit, I'm supposed to go up in there. This is what I've been waiting on. And I started walking to it, and it was so black. I mean, it was so pitch black. You see what I'm saying? And even Crawley talked about that in one of his in his book Magic Without Tears, he talked about how he had this vision and it was so black until the darkest midnight would seem like a bright light to it. I mean, that's how black it was. It was so black until I was like, man, I can't hardly stand it. But I said, wait a minute, hold on, I'm literally awake in this place. I got to go through this. I don't give a damn how much I can stand it. I mean, it was so black until you be like, I'm about to go crazy. But I said, wait a minute, I'm in my dream and I'm awake. I said, so I got to go through this shit. And I started walking to go deeper into it. And we talk about these entities that rule that don't want us to rise up. And they always are looking and spying on us. They call it demiurge, or Dollar and all them, Yahweh or whatever. And immediately, something jumped in the fan, because we had a fan on because it was the spring of the year, and it wasn't hot enough to have on the air conditioner, but it was just nice to have on a fan. And something jumped in the fan, and the fan started going, just start making this noise, and it woke me, and automatically I snapped out of it, and Ginger woke up. And I said, damn. She was like, what the hell going on? And I said, I know what it is. And I knew that some entities tried to stop me from going in this dream. So I knew that there was a doorway in between, but for somewhat my spirit took me from that and for a minute, and I had to come back. And so when I did the ritual, I literally, they came back and they said, dreams, that's the place. So I know that the gateway that we talking about, you can escape through your dreams. Now, this is the key about sleep. I wish we had some chalk.
Me too.
Wish we had some chalk. But let's say that this is the doorway. If you lose sleep, you get further and further away from the doorway. The more sleep you get, the more and more you get closer to the threshold of the doorway. Now, what happens is the society trains you not to sleep. You start when you're young. Your mama tell you to go to bed, and you be like, damn, I don't want to go to bed. And your whole thing is, when I get grown, I can stay up all night. And that's a part of your reward. You say, I'm grown now, I can stay up as long as I want. Especially if you ain't got to go to work. You see what I'm saying? And you still can stay up if you can stand not nodding off the next day. But one day of that shit, and you But the point I'm trying to make here is, that surprise you get, that's a form of the reward for being grown, is I get to stay up all night. So what happens is you condition yourself. You ever had to go to work, or you had to go to class and get a little jealous of the nigga because he didn't have to go nowhere, he had to stay up all night, you got to go into bed at 11 o'clock. Be mad at it. So I used to, when I was in school, I used to schedule my classes late in the afternoon, so I stay up all night. Niggas got the 8 o'clock class be like mad as hell at me. You see, you know, but I was a late sleeper, so 8 o'clock would have killed me. So, because I always was a late sleeper. So now, the key here is we're conditioned to want to stay up. Even sometimes when we tired, we fight the stuff because we want to stay up. Now, if you was in the ancient time, if you didn't have a ceremony, when it got dark, you went to bed. You went to bed early enough until you woke up around 4 when the melanin really started kicking in. Now, one of the keys here is also this. Right before you kick in, that's when the melanin really, right before you wake up, that's when you get the best dream. A series of dreams that start late in the hour. So spiritually, you have to build up to that so all the minor shit don't come. The major stuff comes right before you wake up. You see what I'm saying? Or in a certain time, you see what I'm saying? A certain time, so at least you can remember it. You see? Now, the key here is we're not going to necessarily, it's not necessarily based on how much sleep you get. It's based on what kind of sleep you get. And that's the key to this thing. So now you're going to have to find some kind of way to sedate yourself. The most natural way is valerian root. Is the most natural way, and they got other things and all. But you know, like I said, you want to try some extra strength Somonex or whatever. You see, don't be like me now. But the key here is to get the deepest type of sleep. After about a week of the deepest sleep, you have to condition your body. But after about a week of that deep sleep, your dreams start to enhance more and more and more. As a matter of fact, there's a movie you need to go rent called The Hunger. David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve. David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve is in the movie. It's called The Hunger. Came out in 1985. And in that movie they say, the more you sleep, the less you age. Because sleep is melanin. Now think about it. These damn white people will take melanin out your ass, take the pill, and do what? Fall asleep. They say it's a sleep enhancer.
Right.
Because sleep is melanin, but sleep is not necessarily something, because we're not talking about just the body resting. Sleep is another dimension and another experience. Let me read something to you. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this thing. See if I can find this thing. Y'all bear with me 1 minute. Let me see. I think I read this before. If I got it, hold on. I'm hoping that I have it. Oh man. I'm gonna find it while I'm talking. But anyway, sleep and dreams is an entire world. I got one part. I'll get you right now. Hold on, bear with me 1 minute. Let me go. I got a book. This book, the Upanishads, the principle Upanishads. So you can try to. I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read. There's a part in there on dreams. But let me see if I can find this other part. While we rolling right along. To see if I can. I'll read that part too, but I wanted to see if I can find this other part in here on Dreamlands. You know how it is. I just thought about it. I should have thought about it, but I'll read it tomorrow though. That particular part. But let's go to the Upanishads. Bear with me 1 minute. Dream 456 in this book, 456 in the principle Upanishad. Your Upanishads, your Rig Veda, your Upanishads, your Rig Veda, and your Mahabharata. This is the stuff that the ancient Dravidians or the untouchables, these are their texts. Now, Buddhism is far removed from that. So all these yogi masters and shit, that's centered around Buddhism. So that is the fundamentalistic Christianity of the Vedic system. Upanishads, which is the latest book, Mahabharata, which comes in between, and Rig Veda, which is the oldest. And they are totally different than the Bhagavad Gita and the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which predates them, which is separated by thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? That's the stuff that these white people is into, with these yogi masters embracing all these damn white people. You see what I'm saying? Embracing all these white people, because they tell you it's all about love and all that bullshit. The older ones tell you that ultimately to rise up, you got to kill love. Because if this is an illusion, then what is love but a trap? You falling in love with the damn prison. Because if none of this shit is real, then what the fuck is love? You see what I'm saying? That's fundamentalism. And that's a play on words anyway. You see what I'm saying? So, but in the Upanishads, which is the latest book of the Vedic system, it goes in and it talks about on page 556, principle Upanishads in here, and it talks about, it says concerning sleep and hunger and thirst and dying, but the part here about sleep is the first one they get into. And it says, learn from me, my dear, about the nature of sleep. When a person sleeps here, it is called, my dear, when it is called, my dear, he reaches his purest state of being. When he has gone, when he has gone to his own, thereby to sleep, one has gone to his own. Now, the condition based on deep sleep, the personal consciousness subsides, and the self, it is said to absorb into the higher self. Speech, mind, and senses rest. And they breathe, and the breath is active, called jiva. And it says the living soul returns for a while deep into the deepest self in order to recover from the fitigy or something like that, a fitigy or whatever that means. So in so many words, what they're saying also is when a person goes to its deepest sleep, it meets with its highest self. Now remember I told you that your soul is nothing but a particle of light in the gastrointestinal tract. You're going to see that particle of light when you go see the movie Pitch Black. We saw it today. And it's all about pitch blackness. And these entities rise up and they kill that which is not a part of them in the pitch blackness. Those entities represent melanin. And they had this eclipse, and when this eclipse came, it was time for them to rise again. And the only person who could see them was a black man. And it's actually, I think this is a great movie because both black men in the movie live. And I mean, they killed all the white people. They had a whole crew of white people, and all of them died. I don't want to give the movie away, but then again, but you Bill no be so because I had to wait through the whole movie going, man, 2 or 3 of them two niggas, they're gonna buy it somewhere in the movie. I'm just waiting. You know they put them in there. You know they're gonna buy it. If it's not earlier, they're gonna wait till the end of the movie, and they'll buy it. They'll sacrifice them at the end of the movie. But sure enough, I said this is a new day. You see what I'm saying? But the key here is the sleep realm is one of the realms. So now what it's talking about? So spirit came and said right after that ritual, what you're gonna deal with if you're gonna be dealing something in the so-called new eon is gonna be in the battleground of when you go to sleep. Remember my man in the hurricane said when the people was awake, I was asleep, and when they was asleep, I was awake. Well, in actuality, what we're saying is now you're going to have to start looking forward to your sleep. But think of your sleep as going to another world. And until you line up those dreams, and those dreams become more and more, you see what I'm saying? Then you can bring about, and not only that, this is not only just for something of where you can also change the quality of when you come back and you got to go through this hell you in on the physical, mundane realm. Everyday life, you can dictate your everyday life. For how long we got left, you can dictate your everyday life based on what dreams and how you work with them. Now, I gave you, there's 3 rituals in there on dreams, a couple of them on visions, and all those rituals in there will also work. Remember I say, only thing you got to do is put the 3 candles, a red 7-day, black 7-day, and white 7-day. You know, candles, and put them there on an altar, some coconut and some water. Burn those when you're getting ready to do the ritual. And in actuality, where it says you got to have all those things, just read it out loud, and your voice does speak those things into existence. So you read what they say you got to read, and for the things they say you have to have, just read it out loud. Well, it says have so-and-so, so-and-so, so you read what they tell you have to say. And that will substitute for going out and getting those particular things also, too. But there's some dream ones up in there, and the enhancement is going to have to be on the realm of dreams to get to that particular doorway. But even on therapeutic measurement, just as far as your everyday life, 98% of what you're going to deal with is just going to enhance the ability on how you even function out here to bend people to your will in this battlefield you in is going to be based on what kind of sleep you got the night before. Because the first thing happens is it gets even worse, because the first thing happens is when you get in some kind of thing that's bothering you, stay up all damn night. And you lose energy and the shit gets worse. But they also tell you that the best thing you're supposed to do when you face with any type of hard problem is to sleep on it. And you thinking, oh, time heal all pain. No, the sleep literally made that shit almost minute. You see what I'm saying? So the battlefield on everything that you're going to deal with, and you know that's true right now, and the nigga get shot and about dead. They got to sleep half the damn time to get back up the energy to heal, because that is the healing. So the doctors be bullshitting, oh yeah, I'm doing my little stuff, I'm saving him, but they tell you, no, he got to get his sleep. You come up there and disrupt the sleep, they be like, wait a minute, hold on now. We're going to throw your ass up out of here. Because they know ultimately they ain't doing nothing but trying to maintain the body until the sleep realm heals it, because that's what the shit is. Right. It ain't got nothing, ooh, my little medicine bullshit. But yet you go up in there, the first thing the nurse say, look, he got to get his sleep.
They got drugs now in the hospitals that throw people into real deep sleep.
And that's right, because they understand that the deep sleep realm is the curing realm. You go there and you go to your own, and it's your own spiritual essence that is down in your gastrointestinal tract that in actuality heals you. That's why it's good to get the red candle, because the red candle represents the root chakra. And that is also dealing with that seed in you, as also that white one is the seed, all as well as the black one, which is the shadow, which all this correspond to your soul. But one of the keys to operate on here is going to be on the sleep realm. And I've already started working with it, and I almost feel like I'm 10 every day. So what we're saying is that 98% of what's wrong with you psychologically, the way you feel, is based on you not getting enough sleep or you not getting a deep sleep. So you're going to have to figure out. Me, you know, I'm on some, whatever that hard shit the drugstore got. That's what I'm getting on. But you can go get valerian root. It's safe, it's natural. Just take enough of it that, you know. I don't know, there's some other things also too natural. You see what I'm saying? But I'm doing experimentation, you know what I'm saying? But then again, I know what I'm doing. So what's that?
I was going to say, you mix some vinegar at night in some water, make a tea out of it, stir in some honey. That almost knock you out.
That's key. See? That's key. So we're going to have to start dealing with that, as well as taking a record.
Vinegar and water and what?
Tea.
Apple cider
vinegar, honey, hot water, make a tea out of it.
Also, you're going to have to start getting you a pad to stay by your bed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to stay by your bed. I highly recommend this particular book here. I highly recommend this particular book here, because this book here deals with all aspects of it. And what it is too, a lot of these books are written for university, so they can get tenure, and so they can keep a grant going. So they basically, they can say what they can say in several words, but they have to put all this little concept and this intellectual bullshit. That ain't got nothing to do with being smart. That's just some mumbo jumbo so that they can get that tenure, because they got to write so many books. So stick to stuff that's basically simple and to the doggone point. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I recommend this book by Malcolm Godwin. The Lucid Dreamer is the name of it. And sometimes, I mean, they were selling these up at Barnes & Noble for like $5 on sale. And all also too. 5 minutes? Okay, now, this book is called The Rebel in the Soul. And in so many words, what this book is talking about is this guy is tired of life. And so he's having a dialogue with his own soul, saying, I'm ready to get the hell up out of here. This shit is ridiculous. And this was by Beaker Reed. It was a smaller book that they just put it back out again. Beaker Reed, The Rebel in the Soul. An ancient Egyptian dialogue between a man and his destiny, and that's the soul. So the actual first part of the papyrus you can read in a couple of minutes. But the actual explanatory notes in the back is dealing with all this. But in so many words, he's trying to convince his soul that he wants to die. His soul is actually lazy, want to just hang around because it's halfway asleep and don't want him to go. You see what I'm saying and all. But he's telling him that the land and all, he said, who do I speak to? Man is against man. There is no end to pain and suffering, treachery and all. So in actuality, this is supposed to be taking place in Egypt, or Hemmitt, but in actuality, this is some stuff that's going on right now based on the dialogue of your soul. It's 5,000 years old. But the key here is the history don't add up to the ancient Hemmitt of 5,000 years ago. In actuality, they wasn't so much interested in history. They was talking about eschatology, which is talking about right now. So in actuality, when he's saying that in actuality the land is corrupt and there's so much misery down here, he was not talking about the Egypt of 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago. He was talking about now. It just so happened to be recorded in Hemmitt. And it could have been the ancient Egyptian priest or the Camite priest witnessing a vision of one of his former incarnations or a spirit that's tired of the soul or tired of life. And this particular rebel in the soul is in actuality his own spirit rebelling. You see what I'm saying and all. rebelling. And so this is an excellent book to try to understand some deeper mysteries of some things and all. Because we must turn to those things that we are afraid of. You see what I'm saying? And once you conquer death, you got it on this realm. I'm not talking about die. You're going to die. But once you get into the consciousness where that becomes a preoccupation, like the Egyptians, they was preoccupied with it because they understood that was the real realm, the kingdom of Osiris. So say when a man dies, he becomes Osiris, which is Christ. Even Christ had to die. You see what I'm saying? Which Christ and Osiris and Horus, all that's the same thing. But this is the key. Once you learn the knowledge of that, you pretty much got this realm on this thing licked. You see what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is, you got 5 minutes, got any questions, so we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to start back up. What's that?
The candles, do you light them all at once?
Yeah, you light all 3 candles at once. Like I said, there's a ritual for everything up in there. Now there's also, there's the first 3 rituals, the first 2, one that says a stella and one that says a ritual. Those rituals you can use for anything, including starting up a body again. Or basically anything you can think of. What's that, brother?
The 7-day candles, are those the big ones?
Yeah.
Do you have to have 7-day candles?
You don't have to, but my point is if you're going to be doing those rituals.
Do you have a lot of little candles?
Yeah, but you know what I'm finding out also too about the 7-day candles. Sometimes if you keep those candles building up, burning, it gives the energy that you just invoked time to build up.
So you keep them burning.
So you keep them burning. And it gives the energy time to build up. What I do is let's say if I'm working on something, if it don't manifest, I just keep burning the candles until it does. You see what I'm saying?
So once you light the candle and you finish the ritual, you leave it burning.
You leave it burning. You leave it burning. And that way you give the energy time to build up.
Leave all 3 of them burning.
Leave all 3 of them burning. You see what I'm saying? That's why sometimes I say it's best to get the 7-day candles also too. What's that? No, this brother hit in you. What's that?
Okay, you said something that love was a play on words when you were talking about things being an illusion.
Yeah.
Everything being an illusion. Could you?
The book of the law says compassion is a vice for kings. This is talking about the nature of nobody but us. Now, if it was talking about white people, fine, you know that they crazy. But it's talking about us. That's one of our vices, is compassion, which in actuality is a form of raw emotion. And a lot of our senses shut down. We don't think clearly. So the concept of love is so far removed from what the original concept was also almost talking about like standing on a principle. Truth. It's so far removed into this bullshit that they came up with some wooing stuff or whatever the white man decided he was going to damn hoodwink his woman into. We got that concept, and that shit doesn't have anything to do. So you talking about, well, what about our feel? Well, black people got feelings on any damn thing. That don't mean shit. You sing a good soul song, you got a goddamn feeling. So I mean, that's something totally different. We shit that we feel on every damn thing. So you know what I'm saying? Niggas be now talking about, I feel you. I'm feeling you. So that don't mean nothing. That's just our nature. But I'm talking about this concept here, what we talking about here, is shutting down defenses. And I'm going to deal with that also tomorrow also too, to give you a better concept of this. You see, a better concept. But those just play on, well, we just got to love. We just got to love. Oh, come on, man. That's humanly impossible.
You talked about that on one of your previous
I've been talking about that before at all. That's humanly impossible. Those are cliches. Monuments are nothing. Just feel good stuff, but it really don't have nothing to do with raw energy. And some people say, you know, it's all about nature. I said, wait a minute now. Go look at that in animal kingdom. There ain't nothing beautiful about no nature in the animal kingdom. One animal eats the other animal that's bigger than him, and the other one that's smaller eat the other. I said, that animal can't. You ever see that stuff on TV?
Yeah.
Man, that's all they do is eat each other, bite off each other's heads and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, you know, but we're talking about energy, and you taking place in that energy and directing that energy some type of way, other than doggone thinking that everything is harmonious, because ain't nothing harmonious down here. And you look at the animal kingdom, it tells you that too. Well, we're going to roll again tomorrow. So, you know, come on back and We got a lot more to cover. And also too. All right.